all these ancient prophecies telling us that the world will be transformed.
Wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can he steal? He makes all this stuff up and claims that it's all true. The aliens want to eat us. Be careful that they don't get you. It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal? It's the wacky world of Wilcock, where make-believe is real. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. How much money can you steal?
This is where if I have a live audience, I get everybody to hug each other. I say, give your neighbor a handshake or a hug, whatever you feel is appropriate to you. And that way everybody feels the love a little more. I will never believe it, I will never believe it. Okay, that's fine. Maybe you need 25,000 more years, I don't know, buddy. But look, this is really compelling information, and it's going to get a lot more intense. It's coming up in a couple days here on Sunday, so if you haven't already signed up, we have reopened the cart. We still have the payment plan in place.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. I wasn't going to go through the other half of this, but I'm running a little bit behind in preparing the shows for this week. Hopefully this week we'll finally see the third episode of our Murder in UFO Land series. But I did want to get back to this because there's some new breaking news about David Wilcock. Apparently, and I'm going to share this on my screen, apparently Mr. Wilcock's financial troubles just keep coming to the surface here. And one can wonder how somebody who literally has, according to recent court testimony, makes millions of dollars per course he sells, usually selling multiple courses per year, how a man who makes millions of dollars doing that is constantly in financial distress. I'm not sure how that works, but yet here we are. According to John Christian Spedavaccia, who is researching a book on David Wilcock's shady aerospace company. Interesting Wilcock rabbit hole, he says. In 2019, the Wilcocks had tax liens on their Colorado house. In 2020, they gave ownership of that home to a corporation, Vested Funding LLC. The problem is there was still a lien on the property, and Vested Funding LLC corporation is now defunct, which this is an interesting situation. And I'm not an attorney or a real estate person. So what happens when you, because of tax problems, basically put your house deed into a holding corporation? So David Wilcock apparently doesn't own his multi-million-dollar home anymore. He gave ownership of that home while there was tax liens, IRS tax liens on it. He gave ownership of that home to a Vested Funding LLC, who's now inactive or out of business. So this brings up a great many questions, like then who owns David Wilcock's home then? If the corporation that he entrusted it to in trust is now out of business, does it revert back to him? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have to ask an expert in these matters, but I thought it important still to report on this. After all, David Wilcock claims to be was it 1.4 or 1.5 million dollars in tax debt. And I would show you this document, but it actually shows the physical address of his home. I would prefer not to dox someone or even be accused of doxing someone. So Vested Funding LLC is in Cheyenne, Wyoming, And there's a document here that Mr. Spadavaccia found. This warranty deed is made on the 18th day of May 2020 between David James Wilcock and Beth Renee Hayes, NKA, or I guess that means also known as Beth Wilcock, as joint tenants, grantors. Vested Funded LLC, a limited liability company with an address, and they give the address here. Witness for good and valuable consideration paid by grantee, the receipt and sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged, the grantor's grant and release into grantee, its heirs, successors, and assigns forever the right and interest to the real property, including all improvements thereon, located at, and then it gives David Wilcock's multi-million-dollar log cabin-style mansion in Colorado. Bounded and described as follows, together with an all singular and hereditaments and appurtenance thereunto belonging, or any wise, I don't understand the way lawyers write things, appertaining, and the reversion of reversions, remainder and remainder rent, issues, and profits thereof, all the estate, right, title, interest, claim, and demand whatsoever to the grantors, either in part or in equity of, and to the above bargained property with the hereditaments and appearances, subject to any and all existing enforceable easements, rights, restrictions, and or covenants of record, if any, affecting the said property. Subject to any state of fact and accurate survey of the property would show, together, and all of the rights David James Wilcock and Beth Renee Hayes, a.k.a. Beth Wilcock, in and to said property, to have and to hold the properties herein granted by the grantors unto grantee, its heirs, successors, and assigns forever. This is a weird situation, so I'm not really sure what exactly to make of that. Apparently he had tax problems, and the IRS was putting liens against his house for unpaid real estate income tax, or excuse me, for unpaid income tax, is what I believe. And then Mr. Wilcock transferred ownership of his property to this Vested Funded LLC that's now out of business. So what was that about? Your guess is as good as mine. When we did part one here, we went through the first hour and 41 minutes of David Wilcock's 3 hour, 18 minutes long stream of nonsense and bullshittery. We'll be diving into the rest of it now. Now, I have mirrored this. Remember also that David Wilcock is using a copyright vulture system to copyright claim anybody using any clips of his show. So this broadcast is very likely to be demonetized due to copyright claims, false copyright claims, because we are using this video in the spirit of fair use. It's a transformative work. We're educating the public. We're stopping. We're critiquing. We're talking about the video that we are sharing. This is certainly covered under fair use and allowable by law. But I think that David Wilcock doesn't want people going through his nonsense streams of nothing and pointing out the problems with those. But we're still going to do it. And luckily, there's always some kind and generous people to throw a few super chats our way to cover the $6 or $12 we may lose in actual advertising revenue. But before we begin, we want to take a moment to thank some kind and generous people, including UFO Shane, who says, we have to help Wilcock pay his bills, bro. He's done so much for disclosure. UFO Shane has been a member for 7 months. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and longtime support of the show. Thanks for helping us, UFO Shane, to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash.
And we will take a moment just to recognize those in the live chat. 1 second. Let me scroll up here. We have Rotary Motion. Thin Lizzie Borden is here. Plan D is here. Archaic Revival. Anna Louisa. Daisy B. Flubber Lane. Plan D. Ninja Frog is here. Welcome, Ninja Frog. Garaji is here. Archaic Revival is here. And many others. Davina TK is here. Evergreen is here. Chuck Bam is here. Al Warrior, longtime show supporter, is here. Good to see you, Al Warrior. YouTube Rabbit Hole is here. John C. Spadavaccia is here. William Runner. I mentioned Thin Lizzie Borden. Davina is here. Amy Collins is here. So we welcome all of you into the live chat. Entropic Horizon, welcome to the live chat. Talmud, welcome to the live chat. Mega Briar Patch, welcome to the live chat. Glenn Frith, welcome to the live chat. Of course, UFO Shane is here. And we have another kind and generous person. This is also UFO Shane. That's right. I have 2 memberships. Muhahaha. Well, thank you for your kindness 2 times then, Mr. UFO Shane.
Raise the cash, raise the cash, raise the cash.
All right, so we've welcomed the live chat. Elish D. Avalon is also here. Bunker Incorruptus. If I missed you, I apologize. Paulie's Michigan Memoirs is also here. I think I've welcomed everybody I saw there. So, and if I missed you, you too are welcome. Everybody is welcome. And just a note, I guess, there's some problems or issues with the Rumble channel, and I was completely unaware that we've been posting live streams to Rumble for months now, and they're not putting them up. So our live section is missing like the last, 3 or 4 months of live shows, and every time we do a broadcast, we put them there. And also an issue is that we've been on Rumble for 2 years now, and we haven't made $1. Not $1. Well, actually, we have. We've made like $43, but Rumble, you have to hit $50 threshold before they will allow you to take any money. So in 2 years of posting the Rumble, we haven't even made $50. So I'm considering just killing it. I just think that if I'm not putting my content somewhere that can't even pay me $50 over 2 years. I get that it's good to have a backup. We have a backup channel in the form of Odyssey that also doesn't pay us anything. We haven't made $1 on Odyssey in 3 years. So these alt video sites are great, except if you're trying to do this to make a living. If it's just a hobby and you just want to be seen or heard, great. But if you're trying to do this, for a living, I don't recommend some of these alt video sites. Now, that may be different if you get a deal like Russell Brand or some of these other people on Rumble. But the fact that I can't make $50, and look, we've posted like 800 videos on Rumble. 800 videos? You can't give me $50 in ad revenue? I don't know. Davina TK asking, how much do you get on YouTube? Is PayPal better? Well, we prefer if people are going to throw a couple bucks in our hat to use PayPal, because PayPal only takes a couple percent and YouTube takes 30. So it is what it is. So let's get started. When we last left him, he was talking about the Alliance, which is a fake group he was told about by a literal proven con artist in the form of Pete Peterson, who was a complete and total con artist telling David stories that he ran with, even writing a bunch of his stories into the book Synchronicity Key. Nothing says credible like using a literal proven con artist as a source for your stories. Let's get into it, friends.
At that time, members of the military apparently have taken responsibility to try to push back in what they call the plan. And this is something I've been reporting on for a long time. When I met Pete Peterson in 2009, I was getting these briefings about organized
he's getting briefings from a con artist.
The Alliance, as I like to call them, this secret group within the military, they have incredible technology. I mean, it's beyond anything you can imagine.
And he can't prove that, right?
And just even what they can do for surveillance. Like, for an example, you think you're safe.
Yes, we talked about that, The Watcher. No. And I have one.
Talking, even if you don't have
I bought one bison ribeye steak.
Windows on the outside are vibrating.
Someday I'm going to eat it on stream here.
They can shine a laser onto the window, and they can hear you by translating the fluctuations in the laser light back into audio frequencies. They invented that. They invented it where they can shine an invisible laser into the water, the glass of water that you have. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. I'm just thinking about it now, like, oh shit, am I giving? I hope
this is he was watching Spycraft on Netflix, and in the series Spycraft on Netflix, they mentioned some of these technologies that they can use in listening devices. He's not being told this by secret members of the military. He's watching Netflix and making up stories about where he got that information.
not. But anyway, they can shine an invisible laser into the water in your glass on the table, and they can hear your conversation by listening to it off the surface
let me
of the water.
explain that. Well, Nevada Maverick, Pilled is another one of those. We made a little bit of money on there when we first got on there, and now, I don't know what the coin transfer is, so we made a little bit of money on Pilled, but there's an issue that one of the contributors to our show is Simon Fly, and he doesn't want any of his work on Pilled because he considers it too right-wing or whatever objections he has. So we just kind of dropped Pilled for many of the broadcasts. I was, for a while, if I knew for certain, I wouldn't use a piece of contributor Simon Fly's music or videos, then we would also stream on Pilled. But I just kind of stopped. If people really want me to stream there, we'll start putting some of them back. At least the ones that don't include material from people who object to their material being on Pilled.
They can do it just about it. And there's so many other things like that. So this organized resistance is real. And when you get into the hero's journey, when you understand the story I keep telling people, now you're like, wait a minute, what if they've been planning to defeat, what if the Alliance has been planning to defeat these guys ever since, at least in America, the late 1940s, early 1950s? And we've never really seen anything happen out in the open. It's always
the
Alliance.
Alliance.
It's always
It's like
hidden.
childhood stories, right?
Cult means hidden.
The good guys and the
And
bad
that's so
guys.
frustrating. Like, when are we ever going to learn the truth?
Not from you. We're never going to learn the truth from you, David
what
Wilcock.
I believe is going to become the main.
David Wilcock's a merchant of lies, man.
That there was this villain that most of us didn't know about, and there was this hero that most of us didn't know about as well. And we have this realization that, wow, wait a minute, the villain is real. Like, wow, and Neo says, oh my God, the Matrix is real. The villain is real. Holy crap, that's true. But the hero is real? I didn't even hear about this.
The Matrix is a documentary, according to David Wilcock. So Star Wars.
They can't tell you directly. And now we're getting to the point where apparently there's going to be
You're right,
coming
Amy.
through our phones. Maybe we're not going to have any access to the internet during this time, but there's going to be these videos playing, perhaps. Maybe they'll do it some other way. I don't know.
But then why have you been telling people that's the way they're going to do it for years now? 3 days of darkness. They're going to shut the internet down, and you'll just get videos from the government playing on your phone. And then you predicted it already happened and that the mass arrests already took place. And now you're predicting it's going to happen again. He can't even keep track of his own bullshit.
May be incredibly shocking and feature footage from trials that may have already happened that we don't know about. And there may be some very significant names that you will be shocked as hell when you see this, of who is on trial and what the heck they were confronted with and what they admit to under oath on trial. Okay, this is actually real. And I was getting briefings about it all the way back in 2009, and I'd get an hour of information per phone call.
He's getting briefings from a con artist.
Trying to find out, okay, is this real?
That's what you call it when you're talking to a con artist? I'm getting briefings.
Underground military bases. These are the guys who have the UFOs that they reverse engineered. They have free energy devices. They have time viewing devices. They can look through time, chronovisor type of stuff. They have all this weird ET-derived technology that they brought in. And then right after Eisenhower, it became classified, multiple levels above the President of the United States. The cosmic top secret clearance is 35 levels of need to know above the President of the United States.
I just have to stop him there because this is a long-held belief in the UFO community, and it is complete and utter horseshit. There is no level of classification above the president. In fact, the president is the classification authority. The president has the ultimate authority to decide what is classified, what is not classified, who gets access to classified information, who does not get access to classified information. There is no 35 levels above the president. That is a fake nonsense story. Ask any constitutional lawyer, ask any U.S. historian, ask anybody that's not a conspiracy land dweeb douchebag like David Wilcock if there's levels of classification above the president. And anybody reputable insofar as history or the intelligence community would tell you, no, the president is the ultimate authority when it comes to classified information. So this is just another of his stupid lies. He has no evidence to support this. But hey, don't let facts and evidence get in the way of a good story. You could sell stupid people who do no fact checking and no research.
That means if you're Bill Clinton, you're not going to hear about it. If you're Barack Obama, you're not going to hear about it. Donald Trump probably wouldn't have heard about it. George W. Bush, not going to hear about it. There's a whole world that
this is so stupid. George W. Bush ran the CIA. You think there's classified material that the head of the CIA doesn't get to look at, and then he becomes president, but he still doesn't get to look at it? This is so childish and stupid. It makes no sense.
Knows about unless you get up to level 35, cosmic, 35 above the president. They never tell the president of the United States anything about any of this stuff that's going on. They don't tell him that there's human good ETs. They don't tell him that there's reptilian, insectoid, and gray bad ETs.
Because that shit's fake, David Wilcock. That's why they don't tell him. You mean they don't tell the president fairy tale?
Their ships on Earth. They're not going to tell you anything. But they have all this crazy technology. They can look through time. They've got probably hundreds of different varieties of ET flying saucers that they can pick apart and play with. And part of the story is
that's true. Arcade
folks
revival.
In the classified projects, including Pete Peterson, were building very exotic advanced technologies out of these things that were crashed here, these UFOs.
There's zero evidence or proof that his Pete Peterson, who by the way was a career con artist, he ran pump and dump scams, stock scams, and we've detailed that here. He ran other scams, including a PayPal donation scam. That man was a proven con artist. So David Wilcock is saying that a proven con artist who ran pump and dump stock scams also built spaceships. Sure, David, sure.
And they're never going to tell you anything about what they did. And these projects have very good money, extraordinary budgets. As I said last time, they use things like the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Apollo projects, the nuclear arms race, certain fighter jet programs were used as funnels for black money. And so they don't cost as much as they say. It didn't cost as much to go to the moon as we were told. And the rest of the money was doing all this other stuff to create a line of defense for our planet against a very real extraterrestrial threat that they did not want to tell us about in the 1960s for fear of a War of the Worlds style panic.
Oh yeah, we're all going to panic when we know about the aliens.
So this is all part of the deep state too, but now it turns out that as you flesh out the character of the hero, that from this mold of the deep state comes heroic people who have this weird technology, but they've been using it to save our planet from the bad guys.
Oh, the bad guys.
They are the good guys. They are the ones who are making sure that everything's going to be okay. And I have been following what they're doing all along. I was getting weird briefings on it since 2009.
He's getting briefings from con artists again.
Evidence out in the public eye that I write about.
The con artists, right? All this
new insiders coming forward, new briefings about this stuff. And finally, eventually, by 2017.
Yes, he was one of the four tops, definitely XXX.
In October. And they were very amazing.
All
it
good
really
here.
Changed everything about my life because now all of a sudden they're just dumping extraordinary amounts of data. And you really kind of had to follow.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. I hear that a lot.
This is the hero now showing up in a form that is veiled. You haven't seen
the high-speed chase. Where you been?
Unveiled yet. You haven't seen the Alliance say, okay, everybody, here we are. This is what we were doing.
If you take a
That's
shot,
going to happen.
And he says, break me, you'll die of alcohol poisoning.
But again, one of the terms for this group that the Alliance grew out of is Majestic, because the original project was called Majestic 12. The first 12 guys who learned about the UFOs were Majestic 12. And I read so many UFO books on Majestic 12, I got tired of hearing about these guys.
Yeah, there's no verifiable evidence or proof of a group called Majestic 12. Those stories came from documents that many people believe Richard Doty circulated to the UFO community. They've never been proven to be real or real documents, but there is a lot of evidence that they're fake documents.
Roscoe Hillenkoetter. That's one of them. God, how many freaking times am I going to read the name Roscoe Hillenkoetter? How many freaking times am I going to read about
maybe Tales of Sonic
MJ-12
Voyage,
freaking documents? When I was reading books in the late 90s out of the library, they all kind of kept saying the same stuff. And UFO books didn't really have a lot of depth. And so a number of different authors would all cover the same data. And it got very frustrating because I'd be wanting to read a new book, but then I'd be encountering the same data. And this Majestic 12 stuff, man, so many UFO books had it in there. It was just incredibly frustrating. I have to say that. So
frustrating.
At this point, I realized,
and a lot of books did mention MJ-12. It was like suddenly they felt like, oh, we've got documents, we've got proof, but it turns out the documents are likely fake. So it's like chasing shadows. Welcome to the world of the secret, shadowy world of UFOs.
There is something going on. They've been covering it up, and then when I got to these deeper insiders, I find out, there's this whole world that's 35 levels above Obama or Trump or Clinton or anybody. And at that level, they're interacting directly with extraterrestrials, and they're not going to let you in. You can't show up and do anything about it.
You can't do anything about the aliens, bro.
Who was tasked by Eisenhower.
Now,
I think it was Eisenhower.
Now he's going to use Richard Dolan and Jeremy Corbell's fake CIA deathbed guy as a source, right? But he mangles the story. Like, if you're going to use somebody else's fake story, at least get the details right. He gets these details completely wrong. And by the way, that lying scumbag was a source for Linda Moulton Howe, so you know he's full of shit and fake. Then for Jeremy Corbell and Jeremy Corbell and Richard Dolan, and also for a guy named Richard Gardner and Danny Sheehan. And he told wildly different stories. I mean, generally the same story. Oh, I went to Area 51 and I saw the aliens. But all the details were different in all of his retellings of the same story. It turns out that gentleman was just some slob that worked at a supermarket for his entire life.
Or Truman, one of the two, might have been Truman, to invade Area 51. And they basically got turned around at gunpoint and told to leave. And
Ooh, sorry. What did I do? Oh, I lost the video. Hold on.
That group of we're 35 levels above the president, we're not going to tell you. There's people using technology that's become a part of their daily lives that you've never seen or heard of. And they have an enormous amount of it. They have free energy. You don't need to pay for electricity. You can have this little box. You buy it for $5,000. You keep it in your house, and your house just runs.
Yeah, that's a scam.
You never pay an energy bill again.
There's no proof of that.
They have anti-gravity.
It's a claim.
There's many craft that can
You're big on claims,
themselves.
David Wilcock, but you have no proof of any of these claims.
It's actually pretty easy to build this, and Salvatore Pais.
It's so easy to build it. It's so easy to build it. And he said he was going to build it 2 years ago. He'd have a prototype in 1 year. Where's the prototype? Couldn't you at least give everybody the free energy so none of us would have to pay power bills anymore? Of course not. It's so easy to build. They all say this. Why don't they build it then? Nobody builds it. They just tell you how easy life would be if you had this magical device that produced free energy.
Levitation, anti-gravity patents. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about next month at this conference, the Disclosure Summit.
Yeah, nothing says credible. Like,
so the hero is
doing a disclosure conference with a guy who lied for 8 years about being a secret space insider, then in court testimony had to admit he's never even been to space.
Very interesting, because the hero in this storyline has all this weird technology, time viewing technology, and so they have this.
Now he's quoting Dan Burrish.
Since they got in, studying this and being in these rooms. And
it's a sparkle jacket. Shut up, Blue Reviews. He's an artist. Sparkle jacket.
They have hover cars.
You don't appreciate sparkle jackets.
Holographic projection technology. They have instant healing technology. That's the Medbed thing. Part of what we found on these UFOs was technology where you could have your head chopped off and they can literally grow your body.
You could have your head chopped off and then just pop it right back onto your body and you'll be fine with this Medbed technology. Medbeds is the biggest new age scam ever, and he's endorsing it along with free energy and anti-gravity propulsion. you know, the claims that this guy makes are so huge. And where's his evidence for any of this? It doesn't exist. It's the wacky world of Wilcock. We might as well be listening to Mother Goose tell us stories.
Body will grow a new head.
Your body grows a new head.
The body together, and it'll just kind of seal up where the wound was. So you could have your head chopped off, put the head back onto the body, or even if somebody gets all burned up and there's just a piece left, you can regrow their whole body out of the one piece with this technology. That's literally what it is.
That's called Wolverine. I think I've seen this comic book before, or Deadpool.
This is how bizarre it is to imagine somebody living in the world where they have access to this stuff. And so with Stavati Aerospace, my goal has been that I want to participate in getting this technology out to the planet. So that's why I put all my money into this. I want you to have free energy.
Yeah, this dumbass gave all of his money to this shady aerospace company that has been described as an investment scam and a Ponzi scheme in state court documents. They're being sued by all their creditors, and they're also being sued by investors for being a scam. David Wilcock claims he gave all of his money to them, and they are in debt up to their eyeballs. They haven't produced a single product or service. They have no contracts, though they lied about some. And in fact, David Wilcock's shady aerospace company, which he claims he gave millions of dollars to, their only income is from a garbage dumpster company that is storing garbage dumpsters in their airplane hangar in Niagara, New York. We proved that here.
Energy. I want you to have anti-gravity. I want you to have the Medbed. And we hopefully will be able to get all of these things going. We are already making really great progress. And I'm a lot
he's made no progress in 2 years.
Like probably 3 really big things going on right now that are really cool.
Really cool things going on. He can't show us any of them.
Ability to see anything. I've never been taken to a base. I've never been taken underground. I've never seen anything. I've never in the sky, never in front of me. I've just had certain insiders who are my friends who told me things off the record. They shouldn't have been saying.
So he's never seen anything himself. He just listen to con artists.
Most of them got in trouble for telling me this stuff.
Yeah,
so it does make me uncomfortable still sometimes to talk about this. But as I've said in previous shows, it looks like we are now getting close to some type of congressional disclosure event. They're getting ready to do a whole story for us in Congress. It's very, very interesting. So we are now in this very fascinating war that nobody really knows what it is because you don't know what the alliance is. They only give you little tidbits and these little comms and little clues that they send out.
I got a Gibson studio that's worth probably $3,000 high-speed chase.
They communicate with symbolism. Custom. And they keep showing you this upsetting symbolism. And they keep doing weird stuff. Like at the Grammys, they keep showing you the devils and the horns.
Oh, again with the
blood and the fire and all this
programming.
Stuff. Why do they keep talking about this so much? Why? Who the hell is the creative director that thinks that Satan is the best theme they can have for every single show they do every single year? Wouldn't somebody get like, oh, well, let's do like the happiness show. You know, we don't need to do the Satan this year. Let's just pump the brakes on Satan.
Let's pump the brakes on Satan.
Show. We're going to have little girls riding ponies. There's nothing bad about it. You know, they're going to have, I don't know. It's just going to be this whole different thing. We don't need to do Satan this year. No. They do it every freaking year, man. And you didn't think that mattered, did you? Maybe you did. Well,
you know, that whole trope is a stupid thing. People have been using dark or scary imagery in art since art began. It's evocative. I did it myself. I was in bands and we look like murderers or, you know, psychopath. Like it was like Kiss but worse. You know? It didn't mean it didn't mean we were satanic. In fact, I remember when I started my music career, it was hard to get gigs. And I figured out that if you just went and knocked on a church, all churches have that little stage room, you know, and I would talk the ministers into letting us run shows, but then I'd have to explain to the minister, like, oh, listen, we use a lot of weird and dark imagery, but that doesn't mean we're not Christian. You know, I grew up Catholic. It was funny. So people have been using dark and weird imagery in art forever. It doesn't mean they're Satanists. It just means that people like scary, spooky stuff. And if you're doing a show, you might include some of that.
It does. It's something they're doing so that both sides are somewhat visible, but still mostly cloaked from us.
Coked out Bieber.
And as
Yes,
I've said
definitely.
before, this is actually the way it is in every cycle of history.
Yeah, I am
Even
sure
back in
because she's still on
Thomas's
Instagram.
time, I'm sure there was some type of dark.
She's got
elite
new
that nobody
scams
knew
going.
about,
She's
and
a
they're doing
woman
stuff
warrior or
nobody knew
something
about.
now.
And we know about these things, actually. We know that they captured Carthage and they brought in Baal and Moloch, these two gods, and they made that a part of their secret tradition. So there's always been this stuff that's secret. That's part of what the cycle's about. There's a secret negative side that's demonic, and there's a secret positive side that's angelic. And they both work together.
Two guesses
Still
which
got
side he's
5,000
on.
people watching after 2 hours. Thank you, guys. Hang in there. We're getting to some big stuff here. Okay, don't hang up. You really don't want to
Yeah,
leave
and by the way, his numbers are in the shitter. He used to get 100,000 live viewers, didn't he?
the show yet.
Down to 5,000 live viewers.
So I was talking about
People are
the
getting
geometry.
sick of his
The dream
scams.
landscape of the hero's journey is inside it. The arrow of time wraps around it. And each time we make a cycle across the geometry, we're
I agree,
telling
Amy Collins. Yeah.
ourselves the same story. So again, we've got these 5 Platonic solids:
Regrow morality.
dodecahedron,
Tell me.
tetrahedron,
Yes.
octahedron, icosahedron.
Oh, now we're getting into the sacred
They're associated
geometry
with the
again.
elements. You got earth,
He's got to
air,
give you a
fire,
geometry
water, ether.
lesson to go with his bullshit.
Here's another just simple wireframe diagram of each one of them. And again, this is the pattern of the way that photons run. There's this fluid throughout the whole universe. Tesla was onto this. Some people called it the ether.
Yeah,
idea that
that's a
there's a
flawed
fluid-like
theory.
background
That
in
was
the universe.
abandoned
Exactly.
after Einstein.
Well, yeah, and when it vibrates, it creates these geometries. And so that's where atoms and molecules come from. All we
There's
are
no proof of
ultimately made
ether. There's no proof
these
of anything
photonic
he's saying here.
geometric vibrations.
It's a flawed theory.
And as I've said before, Professor Henry Markram found that when we think in our minds, these same geometric patterns are appearing.
I agree. That's why
in
we
the
did it, to get a
actual
reaction.
Groups of neurons that fire off simultaneously, millions of
Yes,
them.
role-playing
per
game
second all
dice.
over
You're
our
right,
brains.
Dave.
It's really,
Said
really
74.
weird.
Yeah.
But this is the shape of consciousness.
Yes, this
the
is
shape
Dungeons
of
and
thought.
Dragons dice.
And the geometries,
York.
as I said before, they all fit together like this. Now, I want to deviate into a totally new direction here, which is why in the heck did they make these bronze dodecahedrons in the Roman culture? So let me read this to you. The Roman dodecahedron is a small hollow object made of bronze, or more rarely stone, the geometric shape of 12 flat faces. Each face is a pentagon, 5-sided. Roman dodecahedra are also embellished with a series of knobs. Isn't that weird? On each corner point.
What does this have to do with
Pentagon
anything?
faces
I
in
just
most
get
cases
lost sometimes with
contain
this
circular
guy.
holes in them. More than 200 years after they first started getting dug up out of the ground, researchers are no closer to understanding the origin of this mysterious object, or why did they build it? What is its function? Roman dodecahedron. I'm going to show you what this looks like. I know you're waiting for it. Just hang in there, okay? Just wait.
Oh, geez.
Roman dodecahedra dates from the
suspense
2nd or
is
3rd
killing me.
century AD and typically range from smaller sizes of 4 centimeters wide to 11 centimeters, or 1.5 to 4.3 inches in size. So the biggest ones that you're going to see are going to be about like this big. You can hold, so all of these can be held perfectly within adult human hands. The highest that they get, again, pay attention to this. The widest they
Oh,
get
we got
is
to pay attention.
4.33
He's
inches.
telling his followers
So you
who
can
are all
easily
falling
hold one of
asleep to
these
pay
in your
attention.
hands. To date, more than 100 of these weird Roman dodecahedrons, these are Roman settlers, they colonized Great Britain, Belgium, Germany, France, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Austria, Switzerland, and Hungary.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Sometimes
found
people
over
make
100.
things.
Those are just the ones they were able to
Doesn't
dig up.
mean there's some weird,
So the Romans had something
conspiracy
that we didn't know
about it.
folks. They were carrying these things around, and we don't even know why
Yes,
they
pay
were doing
attention.
it or
Literally,
what they could have
you'll
been
all be
for.
charged at the end.
But there was over 100 of them they dug up. So this is
He
what
knows
they
what he
actually
knows.
look
Sniff,
like.
sniff.
Now this is a little guy. Again, it might be 1.5 inches wide. It might be 4 inches, 4.5 inches wide. That's about the range. Here's some more examples of these. And again, they're perfectly handheld. And then we have some more examples. So I finally figured out what I think is going on here. And I believe that when
He figured it out.
we go through the first wave of Ascension,
Yeah, all the historians
really
are
good
wrong,
idea
but
to
David
have
Wilcock's
some of
going to be
these
right
things.
about this,
to
right?
have a metal, I'm not even making them or selling them, but I'm just telling you, They were made out of bronze. They could be made out of silver. If you want to do a really nice one, it could be made out of gold.
Yeah, new business
But I
idea.
believe that people were holding these. Let's go to one. People were holding these in their hands. And once we go through this first wave of ascension, which is apparently going to happen by next year, you will be able to use this device to funnel energy into plasma spheres.
Oh, it's a plasma sphere maker, according to David Wilcock. And did you hear him? Ascension's going to come by next year. What's he going to do when this is like the third time he's predicted the Ascension event and it doesn't happen? He predicted it in the year 2000, leading up to the year 2000. He predicted it would happen in the year 2000. It didn't. Then, leading up to 2012, he predicted the Ascension event would happen then, and it didn't. And here he is again saying Ascension's coming next year. Talk about kicking the can.
The plasma sphere forms in the center of the device, and then it shoots out through one of the holes. And so this actually could become something equivalent to a self-defense weapon. And it is interesting that when you look at them, one of the theories is, it looks as if they have a sighting kind of thing. It's like you can
I know. What's he going to do when this doesn't happen, right?
That could be because people use it to target an area where they want to shoot their energy.
Everlasting gobstopper.
Right, you dial it.
Does
in,
kind of
have
look
the
like
right
those,
face of the, whatever, however far away it is.
No, it's a plasma sphere generator.
Differently in your hands.
David Wilcock
you
has
send
spoken.
your energy into this thing, and the metal, just like in a pyramid, it actually conducts your spiritual energy and forms it into a sphere, and then you can push the sphere out in a line through the hole. And
so why doesn't he build one and demonstrate that his theory is correct? Could it be because you could build one of these and you could sit there for 8 days directing your spiritual energy into it and nothing will happen? This is so stupid.
So this is an example of
then again, so is everything he says.
Maybe again, that's because in this case, it's just
it conducts his
code
like maybe. Who knows?
Out through the front, the top left image, and you're holding it like that. Okay, you could blast the image. You could blast the energy right out through the front.
Yes. Then the sitting CIA
people
director.
Don't really know what the heck was this used for. Why were they carrying this around? Why would people?
They were making plasma balls. It's all about the balls, Wilcock.
To like Germany.
It's all about the balls.
And carry this the whole way with them. This 4.5 inch wide bronze sculpture.
Yeah, maybe it's a coat
Why would they
case,
care?
Right?
And isn't it weird that this sculpture is now associated with all this cool physics?
You keep your
about
weed
the solar
in
system
it,
and the spacing of the planets,
Coke or
and
meth or
that
whatever you
inside
like.
Your mind. Well, yeah, I believe that what we're looking at here is
maybe it's a
wave
cocaine
guide for your own
dispenser.
psychic energy to help you make plasma spheres and plasma lasers, as I was saying right here.
And you can make plasma.
So each one of these, that may be their function. And my point is,
yeah, and monkeys might fly out of my asshole too, David.
We will have conscious
This
access.
might be what these are,
and we can then use it in greater amounts. So now I want to get back into this story of the hero's journey because we are on Easter, and I want to get through the show pretty fast here. So
yes, he's on a hero's journey, washing his car. He said that previously.
But you've heard a lot of this already. There's story points appearing at certain geometric locations on this sphere, which we can then flatten out into a circle. So Joseph Campbell, again, was the scholar who discovered all this really interesting stuff in his book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, that there's all these different cultures that have the same mythologies where there's a hero's journey storyline. And there's a flawed hero that goes up against a villain. He's dead for some point. He resurrects, he defeats the villain, he returns to his people.
Yes, and he said Jesus was the story of the hero's journey, which is completely and totally wrong from a biblical perspective because Jesus was not flawed. In fact, Jesus is the only human known to ever have lived an entire human lifetime and not sinned one time. He didn't have flaws.
And he transforms the world. It's the same freaking story.
His logic doesn't even make sense.
So again, this is a way to look at the story, Joseph Campbell's version of it,
that's
flattened
funny.
out on a graph.
They are for knitting.
From Christopher Vogler, who
Could
wrote
be.
his own book called
That's more likely than plasma sphere generator.
So we're going to read the italicized things above. So again, you see Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Yes, 50-cent coins make us enlightening, Sandra.
Setup, initiation, and resolution.
How many times is he going to talk about the hero's journey?
It's also,
it's
beginning, middle, and
end.
It's
a writing technique for writing stories. That's it.
And what we're seeing here is ordinary world, special world, ordinary world above those words. This is because in the mythological
Yeah, you
tradition,
get in a cereal
when
box.
you go into the Act 2, you're now in the magical world. And that's a different place
Sniff.
where magical things happen that normally wouldn't occur. Very fascinating. So you see ordinary world above Act 1, it says ordinary world, call to adventure, refusal,
most
meeting
did
the mentor,
before they
crossing the
became
threshold. Then once you're in the magical kingdom, you have tests, allies,
saintly,
and
I
enemies.
suppose.
You approach
Everybody's
the
a
innermost
sinner.
cave. You have an ordeal, and it has to be exactly at the midpoint. So in screenwriting, this is called the false up or the false down, and it happens exactly at the middle. The hero either appears to have won or appears to have lost. That's exactly at the point they call ordeal, or on the bottom it says big change. Then you have reward, seizing the sword, the road back, resurrection, that's Easter,
The
and
land
then
of
return
make-believe.
with the elixir. Now, sometimes resurrection is put into Act 3, but again, it can happen right on page 90 as you enter Act 3 in a lot of these screenplays. So now I want you to look at this as if this is some type of super galactic structure that you're going to keep going through. This
If you're charging people to listen to you rant about Angel Urine and Hero's Journey, you might be a
that it's
grifter.
drawn on, and you got to connect the beginning to the end and make it into a wheel. And this is the
National
wheel of
Unicorn
karma.
Day.
And a lot of people have done this. So this is a diagram of, okay, in this case, it's clockwise, the hero's journey. He goes from the known world to the magical or the unknown world, call to adventure, supernatural aid, threshold guardians, mentor, helper, revelation, transfer. We can barely read it right now.
Could be XXX. I don't know about that.
Transformation, atonement.
That could explain his financial problems, though.
So here's another one.
Cocaine is a very powerful drug, and it is also very expensive.
Death and rebirth. Well, guess what? That's where we are right now. We're at the bottom, and we're going to dig our way out. Revelation, again, is the Easter theme. So again, what I'm trying to tell you is that these are geometric locations along the center of a sphere, along the equator. And when you're on a planet and you're orbiting through this, as you hit these areas, you have to experience these things.
Wookiee spankers, the two of them. They're both Wookiee spankers.
Different countries sometimes are affected by different cycles. And that was one of the things I found in my book. So again, to make this into a three-dimensional screenplay.
No, I wouldn't pay 80, and I certainly wouldn't pay $333.
In this case, it's counterclockwise, which is very confusing, but a lot of these diagrams are. Ordinary
Yeah,
world,
so
call
stupid.
to adventure, that's Act 1. Now you're going from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, meeting with the mentor, first threshold, test out, okay, same thing.
Yes, Ashen Forge has the telemetry data for the journey.
Another example of it, and this is just sort of like our own psychological curve, where we go from grief back to order. And we have a breakthrough after hitting the dark night of the soul, which
he's run out of UFO grifts. Now he's on to New Age Christian grifts.
This is the most complete diagram of the 17 stages that I've ever seen. It's hard to read. So
I bought one on eBay, Steve Nicholson.
You have the call to adventure. You refuse the call. Supernatural beings show up to get you to want to do it. You finally enter the magical world that they teach you how to enter. And then you're in the belly of the whale, the final separation from your known world. This is like where the hero gets literally trapped inside the whale. Something really bad happens. But now the world inside the whale's stomach is a magical world. You're not in the regular world anymore.
He's a super genius, all right.
Inside the
Bill
whale,
Van
you're in
Horn.
this whole other place. And that's the second act. So you get swallowed. Or something really bad happens to you. Then you start going, and it could be a lot of things. It's just an archetypal name, okay? Then you have the road of trials, a series of tests, tasks, or ordeals you have to undergo. And you often fail in one or more of these tests, which often occur in threes. There is a meeting with the goddess
AJ,
where you experience a love that has power and significance of the all-powerful, all-encompassing, unconditional love that a fortunate infant may experience with his or her mother. Temptation, material temptations may lead you to abandon or stray from your quest. Atonement with the Father. This is actually now one of the really cool things that Joseph Campbell had.
Yes.
The villain is the father.
Michael wants his jacket
back. George Lucas goes, well, cool. We'll call him Darth Vader, Dark Father. And he's the villain. And so the whole movie Star Wars was written based off of this stuff. So you have to actually atone with the Father.
That would be funny, Paulie's Michigan memoirs.
Him, right? It's not
but
like
we
that's
can't
what's happening.
encourage any of that kind of activity.
Luke atones with his father.
Legal reasons.
Right? Or maybe it was Return of the Jedi, actually. I think it is, yeah, because it's the Emperor. The Emperor became kind of like the father figure in that sense. But again, atonement with the Father.
Sniff.
You must confront and be initiated by whatever holds the ultimate power in your life. In many myths and stories, it's the father or a father figure who has the power over your life and death, and this is the center point of your journey. And then apostasis, when
Sniff.
someone dies a physical death or dies to the self to live in spirit, you move beyond these opposites to a state of divine knowledge, love, compassion, and bliss. Then the ultimate boon is the achievement of the goal of your quest, what the person on the journey is wanting.
I'm still
All
trying
of
to
these
figure out what the
previous
hero's
steps
journey
prepare
has
and
to do with any of
purify you
this.
for this step.
Yeah,
So this is
he
the
says
global
Star
ascension.
Wars
This
is
is
a
the
real, is like a
first wave.
documentary, Lou reviews.
Apostasis, the ultimate boon.
It's
All
real.
of this stuff is
And he
talking
also
about what
says-
happens once we confront
This is
defeat.
interesting. He and Christopher Beskar, who is the CEO of his shady, scammy aerospace company that's been called an investment scam and a Ponzi scheme in court documents and is being sued by all their creditors. They, Lou reviews, claim that George Lucas named the Mandalorian's Beskar armor after Christopher Beskar. Yes, he did. Yes, he did claim that. And I called Stavati Aerospace to get Mr. Beskar to confirm or deny that, and he said it's true. George Lucas named the Mandalorian armor Beskar armor after Christopher Beskar.
And atone with the Father. All those three things
Because
happen.
George Lucas was
Confront him,
impressed with
defeat
his
him, and you atone.
spaceships
part
that
of
he
the
builds
storyline.
for the secret space program,
So
apparently.
then you got the ultimate boon. It's getting very, very spiritual now. And then you have the refusal of the return, having found bliss and enlightenment in this parallel reality. The hero may
Yes,
not
his
want to
hero's
return
journey is to find
his
a
ordinary
big old
world.
box of dildos.
Magic flight. Sometimes the hero
still
has
have
to
to do the
escape
reveal.
the magical world with the boon. This can be just as adventurous and dangerous returning from the adventure. And this is also, well, we'll get
Yeah,
to that in a
this is
second.
just
Then we have
one
rescue from
formula for
without.
writing a story. It
Oftentimes
has
the hero
nothing to
needs a
do with
powerful
anything
guide
he's
to bring
talking
them back to
about.
everyday life if they've been wounded or weakened. Crossing the threshold of return, retaining the wisdom that you gained on the quest, integrating the wisdom into your human life, and sharing it
Well,
with the
there you
rest of the
go.
world.
John
also-
Spadavaccia, in researching his book, contacted the real creator of Beskar armor, Kevin Travis, and she told me that she created it and has never heard of Chris Beskar. It's in the book. So David Wilcock is lying to people, telling people George Lucas named the Mandalorian's Beskar armor after his shady aerospace company CEO, Christopher Beskar.
In the magic flight
Great.
section, let's just go back to that for a second.
And if you'll lie
Seen
about
the
something
movie
that
Alien.
stupid, John,
A lot
you'll
of the
lie about
screenwriting books
anything.
love that movie, and they talk about it over and over again. Sigourney Weaver plays the lead female character, and after she thought she had defeated the alien, when the movie looks like it's over, there's what they call the alien in the airlock. And this is where, in the phase called magic flight, where it says it might be just as dangerous to return from the journey as it was to go on, that's because you find the alien in the airlock. Something bad happens to you on the way
Triangulate
out.
truth.
You've already
it's a
learned
sparkle
what you need to
jacket.
learn.
Damn it. He's
You're
an
digging out
artist.
from the bottom, just like
Leave
again,
the artist
literature that I
alone.
learned about in the hotline that I used to work for. It's not at the bottom that people have the crisis. It's when they're digging out from the bottom and then they hit that alien in the airlock. And they're on the way out, but they're on the way out of the magical world. They've gotten what they needed, but you get another level of resistance. And it's very annoying when that happens. So we've had tons of these kind of things now. So then you cross the return threshold. You become the master of two worlds, achieving a balance between material and spiritual, your inner and outer world, and then the freedom to live. Mastery leads to freedom from the fear of death.
I still don't know what any of this has to do with
Sometimes
his
referred to as
various
living in the
conspiracy
moment,
theories.
which is what all
Is he
meditation
claiming that
masters
he's,
want you to do, is
unless
by
he's
anticipating
kind of
the future
sideways claiming he's
or
the
regretting your
hero
past.
here.
So we now on Earth are reaching the Easter point. But in order to know what's
Like a
going
broken
on, we have
noise
to
machine,
understand
right,
the
Bill Van
problem.
Horn? He
We're never
is like
gonna
a
hope to solve
broken
this. And as
noise
I said,
machine. Just
neither the hero nor the
mix
villain
up
is
a bunch
visible
of
to us.
nonsense and
This is the
go
weird
live.
global hero's journey storyline that we're on. Most people don't know the story. You can't tell them the story. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to ridicule you. They're going to assault your character. They're going to tell you, I don't believe you. I don't believe any of this stuff. They're going to insult you because they don't want to believe there's
Could
this
be
organized
Paulie's
negative
Michigan
group
memoirs.
on Earth, nor do they want to believe, if you could even get them that far, that the Alliance exists.
The
That
alliance
there's
doesn't
people who
exist.
actually have all this great UFO technology, 35 levels above the president.
That doesn't
They're not
exist
going to
either.
tell you what it is, but they decided, let's use it for the good. So we do have to understand the problem, and that means we need to understand the so-called DS, as you've heard.
It's 12 different cameras, yeah.
This was a major disclosure from Kevin Shipp in 2017, and he's a high-ranking agent who blew the whistle. And I also opened up the movie Moment of Truth with him, a very powerful speech that he gives. You can see here he is on Fox News, and he dropped some explosive stuff at this point.
Yeah, so Wilcock always includes some facts and reality. But what he does is, so you notice that he just quoted a real thing that really happened. Now he's going to pile a whole bunch of bullshit on top of a real story as if it somehow makes his bullshit more believable or more true. It doesn't.
Again, this was in 2017, a month before the post started. And I think this was all part of the same initiative.
Oh, he's talking about the Q-Tard
CIA
post.
whistleblower Kevin Shipp has emerged from the wolf's den to expose the DS and the shadow, which he calls two entirely separate entities. We're not really going to get into that. I don't know if we can quite do that, but okay, maybe. The shadow controls the DS and manipulates our government behind the scenes.
You're right,
He
Moody
warned at a
Mongol.
recent talk at Geoengineering.
Yes, slides make it more official. It's
The
definitely,
top of the
and
shadow
make it true.
is the
Yes.
ba-ba-ba and the ba-ba-ba, he said. And again, what's interesting here is these are the two agencies at the top, but it's in shadow. It's not actually negative. And it turns out that the N1 that we were just talking about, in the posts, they
Lundas,
say
that guy
this is
died
being
many
used
years ago.
for the good.
Well, I don't
So you
know,
have
many,
two
3 or
different
4 years
groups
ago, I think he
that
died.
both have mass surveillance technology.
And now he's citing
They're
a
both
dead
using
man
it to
constantly.
try
He's
to
cited
reach
Pete
their
Peterson
goals
several times in
at
this
the
stream.
same time. That's part of the story. It's one way you can look at it. Shipp expressed that the blankety was controlled through the CFR with no congressional
Definitely
approval.
Steve Nicholson, yeah.
And historically, the CFR is also tied into the media. He elaborated that the blankety was the central node of the shadow.
Why can't
It
he say
controlled
CIA?
all of the
Is he
other
afraid to say
16
CIA on
agencies,
YouTube?
despite
or
the existence
NSA?
of the DNI. That may have been what it was before, but as we said in maybe the second to last show, I showed you some slides from Shadow of Ezra, which is a new insider source that seems to be where all of the main intel is now gone and where they're dropping it.
Yeah, and by the way, he does not he keeps quoting, and he's using this he's using this Shadows of Ezra constantly, claiming that he is the Shadows of Ezra, which is just some random Q-Tard telegram channel, is confirming David Wilcock's prophecies somehow. But John Christian Spadavaccia reached out to that person, and he said, I have absolutely no connection to this Wilcock person. Now you've gone and done it. David is going to claim that he is the reincarnation of Better Than Ezra. He's going to start a 90s cover band. Just to be clear, Shadow of Ezra is not remotely connected to @David Wilcock, like at all. They're not sending him coded messages like David is claiming. David is connecting dots that aren't there. They are, however, sending secret messages to me. It turns out I'm the Messiah and also David Wilcock. He says, I'm not connected with him in any way. I'm not sure what I could do to stop him. I have absolutely no connection to David Wilcock. So David Wilcock is claiming that this random Telegram channel is sending him coded Q-Tard messages, and that guy doesn't even know who David Wilcock is. You can't make this shit up, friends.
No, it's not like they're all being controlled. There's been changes at the top, and it's only these main three organizations now, the one that starts with the FB, the one that starts with CI. And
He
then,
can't say FBI or CIA or
DO
NSA?
would be another one, right?
Sniff.
J at the end. So they were talking about those. So this is not true anymore.
I've never seen a public
but it was
speaker
true
that
back then,
sniffs
which was
this
really
much
scary.
during
But
his
again, there's been this
presentations.
weird, quiet revolution that's going on that we didn't hear anything about it until right near the end. But that's what he was saying at this time in 2017. The agency also controls defense and intelligence contractors. It can manipulate the president and his political decisions. It has the power to start wars, torture, initiate coups, commit FF attacks, etc. According to SHIP, the DS is comprised of the MIC, intelligence contractors, defense contractors, MIC lobbyists, Wall Street offshore accounts, the Fed, IMF, World Bank, Treasury, foreign lobbyists, and central banks. Oh, man. In the shocking, explosive presentation, he went on to express there are over 10,000 secret sites in the U.S. formed after 9/11. Wow.
Yeah, this is all should be
That was used in 2020.
news to anybody.
There are 1,291 secret government agencies. What?
Yeah, and after all, just the Department of Homeland Security, which is a brand new organization that was set up after 9/11 in 2001, they have 250,000 of employees. So any of this information should not come in as a surprise to anybody.
1,931 large private corporations and over 4.8 million Americans with a security clearance. Also, 854,000 who have top secret clearance, explaining they signed their lives away and are bound by an agreement. Pause a second to just kind of take that in. There's 1,291 secret government agencies? Holy crap. There's almost 1 million people who have top secret clearance, and they can't say anything about what they're doing. They can't say anything about what they're doing.
Because it's secret, you dumbass, and it probably has something to do with national security.
Oh, almost 1 million people. This is just outrageous, okay? So as we're starting to set up the villain, this guy's talk in 2017 gives you a really nice overview of the scope and the
You're
depth of
correct,
the
Amy
problem.
Collins.
It's penetrated
Between
through
17 and
all these
19
different
sounds
things
like a
by
good
interlocking directorates.
Estimate to
the same
me.
People are on the board of directors of these different companies, and they control media, they control finance, they control big sports.
I know, you get dumber.
Agriculture.
Every time you watch a Wilcock stream, you lose 1 IQ
so now we want
point
to
at
talk
least.
about the shadow posts. These are the main.
And remember, this guy doesn't even know who he is.
That I believe,
and he's not from the Alliance.
Maybe
he's just a
2 years
Telegram
ago now. They stopped
Q-tard.
posting on the other place they were posting before, which are called again the posts, and now they're doing this. And I'm very convinced that this is authentic. They've validated the.
Now he's saying Shadows of Ezra is the original Q of Q-tard fame. No, he's not. But yeah,
themselves so many times, and I really encourage you to take this very seriously. And they're now getting like 250,000 views on a lot of their posts lately. So this is very fascinating. What this represents is the outcropping of an organized resistance to the deep state that's been ongoing since the 1950s.
No proof of
We have
that.
Gordon Neville, a Camelot whistleblower, who reported on this in December 2006. And this is
and if it involves Kerry Cassidy, it's a fake story. Now he's citing Kerry Cassidy as a good source of information, and the wackadoo she interviewed.
this picture. This was the original post when it first came up. Okay. And you can still click on this link. It still works. You have to go through some virus warnings, but it's there. And he said there was a German SS
That's why he needs
officer
12
by the name of
cameras.
Galen. If you ever watched
Blue.
my movie, this is right at the beginning. Okay, the very first thing I show you is this.
The headroom on the thing, yeah.
And I highly recommend you go find Moment of Truth and watch it. Galen had a continuing organization that continued on past World War II, substantially involved in lots of nasty stuff, and still is today. And she says, are they set up in this country? And he says, they're set up all over the world.
I don't believe in beating children, but if Wilcock was my child, I would make an exception.
That's the only place I know that they answer to anybody. Most people all answer to the I.
I think Wilcock did not get smacked enough as a child, right?
So yeah, I don't
when
want
he
to be
said stupid
ridiculed for
shit.
using this word, because here's a high-level insider who's using that word, and he says that's what everybody replies to. That's what it's actually called. That's what they want to be called. Okay, the I ... And he's coming right out and telling you, wait a minute, there's a name for the control system that integrates all the big finance and big tech and big agriculture and big media and big pharma. And all these things are part of this one thing that has this strange Italian
I think if he was
name.
your child, you'd be obligated to
to
beat
do
him,
with
yeah.
brightness and
Every time he said something
illumination.
stupid.
That's what I'm saying, folks. This is what he disclosed in 2006. That is.
Yeah, I really think that as a child, he was probably talking his parents' ears off, telling them stupid shit, and they never smacked him or disciplined him and said, don't say stupid things, right? And now he's made a career out of saying stupid things.
Is what the DS is, okay? So then she asks him, what about Majestic? Do they get along with the I ... And he says, according to my
That's
information,
great.
Majestic and the
So
I...
John reached out to Shadows of Ezra, and he told me he wanted nothing to do with Wilcock. And the rest of the chat, I linked him to David's videos. He is not an insider, and even he thinks David Wilcock is crazy.
not seeing eye to eye
You gotta
over
love
the
it.
idea of triaging the population in order to bring it down to a workable level where it's safe to have life. And as he goes on, you
Workable
find
level.
out Majestic is the one saying, no, we don't want to.
Majestic doesn't exist. There's no proof it
And
exists.
they were the ones saying, yeah, we do want to do this. We want to bring it down. And they're calling it triage, right? Well, triage is what you do when you're in a crisis, when you got to clean up big, bad crisis. Okay. He says we're approaching a very high number, around 7 billion, and they would like to triage a bunch. And Majestic, which is mostly U.S. military people and some other foreigners, they don't want to see that. Thank God. Okay, that's good. That sounds really good. Let's hope that's true. They're not in favor of mass blankety blank by blankety blank and stuff like that. Can you even believe what you're seeing here? He actually said this. This is what they were planning on doing when he said triage, and this was in 2006.
Oh, God, he's using AIDS
Remember, it's not
conspiracies
just
from the late
viruses.
80s.
It's the alleged treatment for the virus. Is that treatment safe or not? Well, maybe a lot of people are now saying that it isn't, and maybe that's becoming a really big deal. Maybe they didn't want it to be safe, but they have to be careful. So it's not instantly effective for everybody. It's only, something that's going to take a long time, and you got to get a whole bunch of them for it to add up. That might have been the plan. They didn't expect that they were going to get any resistance. They thought everybody would have to take these, and perhaps each one is going to systematically weaken your health even more. That could be what it is. This
is medical disinformation that he is spewing on a public YouTube channel. You could lose your channel for that. Yeah, there is no place he will not go. It's so ridiculous, Lou. Like, this is why we do these shows, because every time that I listen to one of his streams, I go,
exactly
I can't believe it.
He was talking about how they wanted to do it, what they wanted to do.
And he's quoting somebody that talked to Kerry Cassidy and never proved any of the shit he said. But according to Wilcock, it's all fact,
to Majestic 12. And he snarks, it's the only good side I know of. And she says, yeah, I know you're not really friendly with them.
Hidden messages in his forehead. Yes, it's part of his
agency guy, the one that starts with C.
He hypnotizes people with his forehead.
Says, yeah, I'm friendly with a couple of members of Majestic, but I'm not friendly with their program to destabilize some of my businesses.
It's easy to do.
There's been this ongoing secret war.
I got to stay caffeined up just to keep listening to
in
this
the secret world for a long time. And the posts that I'm talking about and the comms that I'm talking about are now emerging from this secret hero side of the war. It's in the military, it's in the intelligence.
And the guy posting this stuff doesn't know what the hell David Wilcock is talking about or why he's quoting him as an insider.
Aren't you happy you watched this show? Isn't this freaking great? It's about to get a lot crazier. So if you have some children around, you may want to, have them go play with Legos or something.
Yeah, because
all right,
everybody watches David Wilcock's live streams as a family. I don't know about the rest of you, but every time David Wilcock does a stream, I gather my children and my wife, and there's important information, new information from David Wilcock, and we watch as a family. Come on, you dumbass! No children, nobody's watching you with their children.
Let's just say that. It's getting pretty close now.
Still quoting a proven liar that never proved anything, Gordon Novell, who was a con artist
of a safe house
and a scammer and a grifter like Wilcock.
So I'm very, very indebted to the blankety blank. Well, yeah, there you go.
Why can't he say
so
CIA?
Now we got to talk about some stuff that nobody wants to learn about. And back in 2012, this was the story. Okay, this guy, Jimmy, and his last name starts with an S.
Jimmy
He's
Sable.
wearing these crazy glasses, and he's all. It says the rotten culture at the heart of the BBC. That's October 5th, 2012. This was the day that all this stuff started to break out in the UK. Never really made it over here.
I know, it looks like it. It looks like he's running Windows 98 PowerPoint reviews.
That got people turned on to the Rolling
He's so
Stones.
proud. He's so proud of his
Beatles.
His slides, though.
To every
they have sparkles,
British
Lou.
rock band.
You don't got PowerPoints with sparkles.
On one show. The name of the show was Top of the Pops. And so this show
Yes, I'm happy
featured
watching your
Mick
show,
Jagger,
Troll.
featured Paul
Thanks for
McCartney,
being a member.
featured John Lennon, featured Elvis. I mean, you name a name, and they were on that show.
Yeah.
And who did they
That's what
stand
he's getting
with?
to.
Who was the host
Those
of
are
the
the
show?
bad guys, Lou Reviews.
There you go. That's the host
the
of the
child
show.
M's.
Okay.
The
I don't even
POs.
like to show
Yes.
this, but like if you could ever smell a photograph, I can smell this photo. I know exactly what it smells like.
Sniff.
And I don't want to be around it. Okay. So this was the host of the show.
His
I'm not
cake
going to show you
makeup
that
is
again. It's a
alarming.
smellable photo, folks. It's really disgusting. I'm just putting that out there.
Cake revival calls David for his children.
This
He's
thing
a virgin.
started around October 5th, 2012, and it was part of the Alliance.
Yes, they smell sulfur.
And
Yes.
it led to the BBC director resigning on November the 10th. And it's called a bloodbath. Quits as in a sensation. Director General George Entwistle forced shoddy journalism. Oh my God, look at this. November 10th, here we go. The Director General of the BBC sensationally quit tonight in the aftermath of the scandalous Newsnight report, smearing senior Tory Lord McAlpine over false claims. George Entwistle announced his resignation 12 hours after he was humiliated in a BBC interview by John Humphreys.
None of this matters.
how he
People
handled the
resign
issue.
when
So the
there's
director
scandals all the
of
time.
Frickin' BBC had to resign over this.
Yes.
That's how bad it was.
They all smell like sulfur because they're
In a
they're
dramatic
Satanists.
statement at 9 p.m. last night, he resigned following pressure from senior government sources and within the BBC itself. So then these are some other links. They are in the worst crisis of 50 years over their cover-up of what was going on.
Oh,
That's
we're going to
the
get
link.
into
Still
Seville was part of a
works.
satanic
Look it up
ring.
at archive.org.
He was a Satanist.
This is another one that I found on October 25th, a tsunami of filth that's done terrible damage to the BBC.
Swamp
This is all
gas,
before he
yes.
resigned. I'm just showing you the headlines right now. BBC is hopelessly in crisis.
You're right, Chuck.
Police
Learn about how to
prepare
kill
an
those
arrest
cows with a shovel.
strategy as
Definitely.
the case grows. Wow.
Windows 95.
An arrest
Yes.
strategy. That was in the New York Times. Isn't that interesting? And then we're going to read out of this one. The number of people who said they were assaulted by JS, one of this country's most popular TV hosts, expanded from 200 to 300 in just the last week. These are people coming forward. And other people may have acted with him, Scotland Yard officer heading the investigation said on Thursday. And then on January 13th, 2023,
Yes, don't forget the cows.
we find out, lo and behold, our miscreant friend here was part of this ring. It says it right here on the headline. This is from express.co.uk. And I found it on Google just today. Probably won't be there for long.
It's a
But he was
tabloid
part of this
newspaper.
S ring. A
And why does
secret
David Wilcock
S
think
ring.
that
It says
he's so important that if he shows people an article, they just take the article down? He constantly says that. It's never happened.
JS beat and AR'd a person during a secret SR in a hospital.
This is a British
Okay.
tabloid newspaper he's citing.
So
Not
here we
that
go.
that
This is the
maybe
link.
isn't
You can go
true.
Find it
I don't know.
for right now. I'm not saying it's going to stay there. The star wore a hooded robe and a mask as
He's
he
sniffing the
hurt this
mothballs in
person
his
in a
suit
candlelit
pocket.
basement. He also chanted "Hail S" in Latin as other worshippers joined in and
I
assaulted
liked Windows
at the
98,
Stoke
95,
Mandeville Hospital
not
in
so
Buckinghamshire
much.
in a secret
And I
room
liked
that they didn't
XP, and I
let
liked
anybody know
7.
about. That's
I
where this
hate
was
10
going
and
on.
11.
And it's unbelievable. This actually came out. The attack happened in 1975, and it shines a sinister new light on the former DJ's 54-year reign of terror. He died in 84, October 2011. He's now the worst known offender after police revealed he preyed on 450 at least from this age range, starting all the way down there up to 47. She kept her torment hidden for nearly 20 years before finally opening up to the
I agree with you, Sandra. Yeah, he was a sicko, but what does this have to do with anything?
Sunday Express, she first
He's
spoke
got to
to
have a
the
bad
person
guy
in
for his
1992.
stories, so he
Quote,
finds
she
the
had been
baddest guy
patient
he
at
can
Stoke
find.
Mandeville in 75 when he was visiting
Windows
there
8 was
regularly.
the
This is one of
worst.
the places he
Yeah,
paid for.
I was still
set it up.
fixing computers in a
26
computer
of
shop at
these
the time.
different
I hated
facilities.
Windows 8.
She recalled being led into a room that was filled with candles on the lowest level of the hospital, somewhere not regularly used by staff.
Thanks for confirming that. DM
Several
Andy says
adults
the
were there,
Express is
including
like the
this
Weekly
person
World
who, like
News
the
for
others,
news
was wearing
values.
a
So it's a
robe
rag.
and a mask. There you go. She recognized him because of his distinctive voice and the fact that his blonde hair was protruding from the side. He was not the leader, but he was seen as important because of his fame. He's on this very huge television show. He is the director of rock and roll, really. Dr. Citizen, who directs the Clinic for Dissociative Studies in London, said, quote, "Now another victim came to me in 1993. She said she had been lended out as a supposedly consenting woman at a party in London at a house in 1980. The first part of the evening started off with a blankety blank. Everybody's doing their thing.
My God, he's using props.
Halfway through, some of the participants left. Uh-oh. Whoever sticks around, what's going to happen next? It's not going to be good. Along with other young women, the victim was shepherded to wait in another room before being brought back to find him in a master of ceremonies kind of role.
Again,
within a group who were wearing
he's citing a
robes
trash,
and masks.
garbage newspaper.
She too heard Latin
Tabloid
chanting
newspaper.
and
That's
instantly
the quality of the
recognized
source.
various regalia. Although she was a young adult who was above the age, she has suffered a history of abuse and was extremely vulnerable. Both of these victims contacted Dr. Citizen, who's president of the Institute of Psychotherapy and Disability, while she was involved in a Department of Health funded study into abuse committed during religious ceremonies. She said
He's
both these
laughing at
witnesses
sexual
did
abuse.
speak to police
Great.
at the time, but they were vulnerable.
Some spiritual
Not encountering
guru.
any
You don't
surprise or
laugh
shock,
at a
they did
victim
not
of
dare to
sexual
give the
assault,
details,
David
so the
Wilcock,
police took
slime
no
ball.
action. She added he was still a huge celebrity in the early 90s, let's not forget. He had various television shows, and there was never any action taken against him or any of the others involved. Neither girl
Yeah, I
knew one
should
another.
invite
They
him.
lived in different
Yeah,
parts of the
he's
country.
welcome.
They contacted me a year apart, but their experiences are very similar. Whether he was a practicing
He's reading the
S or
script
merely
from
enjoyed
the
dressing up
Eyes
to
Wide
scare his
Shut.
victims
Yeah.
even more will perhaps never be known, but he left those two
Yeah,
girls mentally scarred.
he's laughing at victims of sexual
Yeah, you got to
assault.
be brave to take that leap and see the villain in the story. But this is a very dark villain. We're talking about the guy who's on television. He's leading everybody into what bands to like, and here's the Beatles, here's the Rolling Stones, here's Mick Jagger singing "Sympathy for the Devil." Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name, right? Like, all right, maybe that's weirder than I thought it was back when it first came out. Just call me Lucifer, right? He says that in the...
And meanwhile, he's talking about people being Satanists or the P word. And he hung out multiple times with Steven Tyler of Aerosmith fame, who once adopted a 16-year-old girl so he could fuck her, right? And he's hanging out with that guy, right? So proud of knowing him and hanging out with him, taking pictures with him and stuff. But he's going to call other people satanic peas. Great.
Song. It's like, whoa. So, okay. They're putting this stuff in their lyrics. One of the Rolling Stones albums is called Goat's Head Soup. They're on the show with this guy.
Now he's
And
going
now
to
we
connect
find
some more
out from
dots.
two different independent whistleblowers who never spoke to each other that they both experienced being taken downstairs into this room, masks, robes, and candles, and chanting. And again, each hospital that he built, he had 26 of these, they all had one of these special rooms. So this is
That's
like
pretty sick.
really, really freaked out. And then it gets even freakier when you realize that they could be doing the same thing in schools to look for people they...
Oh, geez. We want to take a moment to thank Tales of Sonic Voyage for a very kind and generous $5 super chat, who says, for the Fallen Cow Fund. Thank you for helping us, Tales of Sonic Voyage. Longtime show supporter, always throwing a couple bucks in our hat, helping us to praise the cat.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash.
They could hypnotize. Now this again, this is why I said now is the Tinker Toy time, okay? So go have your kids play with something, because this is really interesting.
This is
Some of the
interesting.
memories,
No, this is
well, let's put
gross.
it a different way. I have dreams of being in my school and being woken up and then taken down the hall, and we open the door and we go down these stairs and we go into the basement. And
You know
things
what?
happen in the basement.
I'm gonna address that. Do you know how many people he has scammed, and you're here defending him like an idiot? Spirit Warrior, somebody in the live chat says, I am not impressed by this video putting down Wilcock. I'm assuming you have better things to do with your time. Let's make humanity better. You know how you make humanity better? You stop people from scamming people. You stop people who are scamming people, claiming to be in contact with angelic beings who is giving him secret information, and he is then selling that secret angelic important information to stupid people for $333. If you don't think that deserves to be mocked, or at least deserves somebody to educate people about false prophets, grifters, and scammers. Do you know his history of scamming? Let's see. Convergence Pictures, LLC. He scammed people to invest in a movie company, and then he never made the movie. There was the Pete Peterson GoFundMe scam, in which he collected $60,000, and every word of the text body of the GoFundMe was a lie. There was the Emery Smith PayPal donation scam, in which he claimed one of his insiders was under attack by the deep state. It turns out he was under attack by a vodka bottle, and he was in the hospital for alcohol poisoning, right? Then there was the David Wilcock Spiritual Foundation scam, in which he collected, I think it was several $100,000, which he spent on himself, including $4,500 one year for meals and entertainment. Isn't that nice? So you go spend your time making the world a better place. I'm here making the world a better place by educating people about New Age scammers. And if you don't like that, this is not the channel for you. Go listen to Scammer Scam then, if you don't like reality. We've just shown that he's using proven con artists as sources for his fake stories that he tells stupid people, and rag newspapers. We've also proven that he's claiming that he's getting secret comms from a Q-tard Telegram channel who doesn't even know who the hell he is, right? But let's continue here.
In my school.
We have
and then
50
what I
minutes
realized
more
is
to get
that
through.
you could be drinking your milk like they have you do. I always would drink, I didn't want to drink the chocolate, so I drank the regular plain milk. And you're still basically a baby, right? In kindergarten, you're like 5 years old. So as soon as you drink milk,
He's probably
body
is.
says, "Oh, I've been nourished."
That guy's probably dumb enough to give Wilcock $333 several
To
times.
nurse the baby,
right?
because there's these hormones in the milk that will make the baby fall asleep.
Oh, thank you.
But what
By all
if,
means,
after you,
by
and
means of
everybody, this
savagery,
all
I
American
appreciate
public
that.
schools, they do this, right? This is scaring the crap out of you now.
Yes,
isn't it?
this is legitimate criticism. We're not putting him
bear with
down.
me.
We're educating
Everybody
people.
drinks their milk. Then what did they have you do? Do you remember? You would lay down on a little
Yes,
mat. They give
Garage
you your own
Ugly.
little mat. And this is about how these are the clothes I was wearing right around this time. Okay, I still have this.
No,
This is my little.
now he's going to show like childhood clothes. Did he give himself a loan through the business like Billy Carson? No, but we detailed at the beginning of the show that he moved his multi-million-dollar mansion into trust with a LLC that then went out of business. So there's a lot of shady shit going on. Now he's showing us his childhood clothing for some reason.
Little
That's
flannel
weird.
pajamas. These are the pajamas I had an out-of-body experience in. This is the top, and this is the bottom.
He saved pajamas
And when I
that he
floated out of my
actually
own body
projected
in
in.
these pajamas, this was the most profound experience I'd ever had in my entire life. It was when I was,
Look at
5
my
years old,
pajamas.
in kindergarten. I
Look at
floated
my
out of own
pajamas.
body.
I floated out my body in these
Got scared
pajamas.
as I started
This
to
is so
feel like I was being
dumb.
taken somewhere, and I popped back into my body.
Yes, and the Stavati
And now later on, I
Ponzi
wondered,
investment
did I go into
scam,
some type of
alleged
UFO
investment
experience
scam.
after
Yes.
the part where I freaked out, and I seemed to wake up in my
Yeah,
body.
go watch
Either
Billy
way,
Carson.
I woke
Yeah,
up in
exactly.
these pajamas, and I never wore them again. They became my sacred pajamas. Okay, so I've never actually showed this before.
To
There's a
think
little
he
guy playing
planned this
football on
part
here.
of the video. Yeah,
It's
you
got
would have
red
to
cuffs
plan
and
it.
it's yellow. But I have this always
Billy
in my
Carson
sock
never
drawer.
went
Now
to
I'm probably gonna put
Harvard.
it in
He
the safe
took a
now.
free
Now that I
course
showed it. But
and claimed he
yeah,
was
I'm gonna put this in the safe now. But up until
Harvard
now, I kept it in the
alumni
sock
after taking
drawer.
a
My
free
entire
course
life,
on the internet.
everywhere I went, kept it in the sock drawer. The reason I never washed these again, and the reason I never threw this away, is I said, how in the hell did I float out of my body in these pajamas? What is the magic secret about these pajamas where they can clone themselves,
He thinks that these pajamas have superpowers, right?
and that my body still wears them when I'm a ghost, but my body is also wearing them in bed? There's 2 pairs of pajamas. This really, really tripped me out. So again, I actually saved this. And then in the same year, 2 years later, actually, I got this calendar from my parents. And this is another thing I didn't have
It's
the original.
show and tell with David Wilcock.
This was a Mickey Mouse
This
calendar.
man is nuts.
That has these various pictures in it. And when I was a kid, I was reading this book on ESP.
Alleged fraud,
I
yes.
was going through month by month, and I was writing down in the calendar the psychic experiences and synchronicities that were happening to me. I would write it down month by month on this calendar.
Yes,
So when I
David's
look
been
at
pissing
these
on them maybe.
of
Trying
like
to
what I
give them
saw
more superpowers.
from when I was a kid in this calendar, it just blows me away so freaking much. And I was having weird psychic events that I documented in that calendar almost every day. And it was this out-of-body experience that was the incentive. I did this at 5.
The body of Wilcock's
Nothing
ghost
happened
child
for 2
compels
years.
you.
I got pissed off.
Yes.
And I read books on ESP to try to get it back so I could get another chance to float out of my body, because I kept having these dreams of benevolent, positive,
Yep.
angelic humans who,
Yeah,
turned into Obi-Wan
maybe he
Kenobi
just
after
bought this
Star
shit
Wars
at
in
Goodwill or something.
1977.
It was like, I could make up some
And I
bullshit
would
about
have
this.
these loving, long conversations.
I don't believe
with beings.
anything
I
he
feel
says.
so
Even
wonderful.
if he says these are his pajamas, I don't believe
And
him.
it's only now that I'm doing this Michael prophecy stuff, as of starting in 2022, that Michael tells me, yeah, you know what, you had this parallel lifetime as a kid where UFO-based technology was used. So when you floated out of your body and you're wearing these silly pajamas, and here's the bottoms again, look at how small they are now. That was my pants. Okay,
I
that's
think
all
you ought
I
to put
had.
that outfit on
Was my
now.
height. I never threw them away.
Steph,
When I was getting taken out of my body like that, sometimes I was going somewhere, and then very bad things were happening. So again, if you're in kindergarten, you're lying there and
I
you
agree,
drink milk
Terry
and then you
Hall.
take a nap, what if somebody then starts to say things? And if you are potentially hypnotizable, maybe you hear those things and maybe you go with them
Sniff,
somewhere
sniff.
else.
Yes,
And
the
maybe
pajamas
you'll
are
never
urine
remember
yellow.
a darn thing for the rest of your life. Well, guess what, folks? I have dreams suggesting that this happened to me.
Could be, Andrew.
The story got even
Could be.
crazier by April 19th.
Says pretty sure Wilcock is on meth.
Where now his number went
Smell-
all the
smell
way
your
up to
pants,
1,350. Think about how many days there are in the year.
He got his
about how
butt
many
probed in those PJs.
Different
Gross.
times. How many years are there in
This fool
1,350
busting out his
days?
coloring
First of all,
books.
it's like what? It's
They're props.
At least 4 years. So that would be like a different person every day for 4 years. Holy crap. I mean, look at that. And,
A lot of people think he
so
needs a
they're thinking,
mustache,
wow.
yes.
I mean, that's just a staggering number. Okay. So it could be up to 1,350. The police officer who exposed him said today. Operation Y Tree, I'm not even going to say it out loud, which is looking into allegations of crimes against the former presenter, as well as a host of other celebrities, has recorded 450 people saying something happened to them. Holy crap. But former Metropolitan Police Commissioner...
I love how he will use of tragedy, like somebody abusing hundreds or perhaps thousands of people, and just weave it into his fake stories for stupid people, right? You would think that some things you would just leave alone because it's a tragic story. No, not Wilcock.
Peter
He's going to use it to sell stupid people a book from an angel.
NSPCC conference that, as well as those who came forward, there were probably double or treble the number who haven't. And here's another one.
I don't have any pajamas from when I was a child at all. I don't understand
November 10th,
somebody keeping
it
them that
says
long.
The Director General of the BBC sensationally quit
And I had a
tonight
sandwich, yes.
in the aftermath of the scandalous report smearing senior Tory Lord McAlpine.
Good point, Patty.
Over these
Yeah,
false,
he is. He's
fake
very
false claims,
fixated
right, of
on
course.
childhood
He announced
abuse.
his resignation 12 hours after he was humiliated in an interview by John Humphreys over how he handled it. In a dramatic statement at 9 p.m. last night, he resigned following
That's
pressure from
gross.
senior government sources and within the BBC itself. In 2021, we learned that he was actually creepily licking the princess. It's so gross. He inserted himself into their marriage. He was able to hide his horrific predatory crimes during his lifetime by engaging in charity work and establishing relationships with high-profile figures. However, in Thursday's documentary, it was claimed that the princess recoiled from him while the prince was gullible and enjoyed having him around. Now, it's possible the prince didn't know anything about this other stuff. That is actually oftentimes how they do it. He's the guy that has all the access to the rock stars. You want to meet Paul McCartney, you want to meet John Lennon, you want to meet Elvis. Here's your guy. And what they will do is they will keep you in this trap where you don't know all the other stuff that's going on, but then they just bring you into something that's like a fun party. And that's all that you know. And maybe you have other stuff happening, but you might be under hypnosis and you might not even know that you're doing it.
You're right, Mike Rotunda. Yeah.
Even at the highest levels, they don't even know what the heck is going on because they have a split personality and they're not even aware of what's happening. Okay. So this is something he even carried out on the princess, added K. He licked
Well,
her
Terry
hand.
Hall, if you have any good stuff, email it to me.
As
We'll
she told
share
me,
it,
was
right?
very, very creepy. Yuck. But he was well established in government circles with the prime ministers of the day, and by being so established, he was untouchable.
Untouchable.
At the time, Chuck was gullible. I'm saying with hindsight, he was gullible. At the time, he was gullible, as was everyone else. Then we find out he had regular access to the palaces. He was in there regularly.
Yeah, he's a
Okay,
celebrity.
This is
This is
April
no surprise. And nobody knew about his
He had
weird
incredible access.
proclivities.
appearing with them during numerous outings. In
Abusers
1983,
hide their
he,
abuse
Charles and Diana
from the rest of the
opened a
world.
new
They don't
spinal injury center
advertise it.
at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. Oh, nothing bad's ever going to happen at Stoke Mandeville Hospital. There's no secret room in the hospital that anybody could ever go into with candles or anything like that. In a memo he penned for the firm in 1989, the entertainer said he was in the palaces on a regular basis. Oh, man. It's not looking good. His
So
claim
now
was
he's
part of
tying
a
the royal
handwritten
family
five-page
to this.
manual titled Guideline for Members of the Royal Family and Their Staff. The new Netflix documentary, JS, A British Horror Story, explains how he sent his PR guide to Charles. And I'll bet you that's still up, so you could probably go watch that. If
Oh,
you
well, that's
want to,
gross
it's
moon
horrible
dust.
stuff. On a page of the document titled Personal Observations, he claimed he was well placed to comment on the family's public image due to his many visits to their royal residences.
Yeah, I agree.
And as I said in previous shows, isn't it strange that on February 5th, they had this comm come out about the king, or maybe he's not going to be king anymore, and they put this X across him. Now,
Oh, again with the shadows of
says proof
Ezra,
of removement. You
who
click
has
on
no
that, and it
idea
goes
who
back to
Wilcock
this, May
is.
6th of last year, where it says it will be a very short reign.
Well, he's still the king, so it wasn't a
It's a
short
very
reign.
strange synchronicity that right before we did the last show, one of the members of my board, his daughter is in England, and she wanted to see King Charles, and she saw him from 5 feet away, and he was waving at her and smiling, and she was crying and jumping up and down and very, very happy. So I know he's alive. So that red X cannot mean that, because my own whistleblower firsthand saw him from 5 feet away. He was waving at her and he was smiling. So he is around. And remember, they said in some of the comms we talked about, the British royal family has ended and they are quitting. So it probably has something to do with what happened back in 2012 and 2013. I'm just going to lay that out there for you.
Oh, God.
So then remember.
So far for sources, I just want to make sure everybody is educated. The sources that Wilcock are using are a Q-Tard Telegram channel, a British tabloid newspaper, a disgraced con artist, former source of wackadoo Kerry Cassidy, and a complete and total fake con artist in the form of Pete Peterson. Such high-quality sources Wilcock uses.
February 22nd, that Scavino flagged post number 59, which had this hilarious bit from Chris Farley, who's one of my own main comic inspirations. And then it's 59 seconds long, and you got to go back to the posts and read that number. And this one really did add up. Remember, information is everything. The flow of information is no longer controlled by the media, but by you and others. Hence why we are dedicating critical time to distribute these crumbs, which can be followed in greater detail to paint the entire picture as more information is released, which I'm now starting to get.
Yeah, he's 75 years old and has cancer. Yeah, so they went out on a limb and made a prediction.
How scary the villain is. Why has POTUS dedicated so much time into labeling the media as fake news? And why is this relevant?
Absolutely. I would hook him up in a minute.
We are fully prepared that all social media will be shut down to prevent the spread of this information. Whoa. Whoa. That could be something we're getting ready to have. Sealed federal orders pre-submitted.
You're right.
Which will be preventing and will be masked as
these are the Q-Tard Twitter posts or Telegram posts. He's repeating Q-Tard nonsense.
Pending actions are deliberately provided for authenticity. Alice in Wonderland.
You're right.
And sure enough,
he goes,
after they had the post,
he can't keep his own crap.
Dan
right?
Scavino had telegraphed an AOL outage.
That sounds good to me, Tales of the Sonic
8-hour internet
Voyage.
blackout on February 22nd, and it really did happen. That was a fascinating proof. Then they
That
posted
wasn't
this
proof.
thing on February 25th about
It was a technical
it says,
problem.
Behold, a pale
Wasn't a
horse, the hand that
blackout.
sat upon him was death. One of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We found out that the pale horse represents the king, but it's never usually brought out
That's so
alone.
funny.
The king or the queen has to be
Lou Reviews found the calendar that David Wilcock was showing, and it's from 1981, and it's available on eBay for $15. So maybe he just bought it on eBay. It did appear to be a little strange to me that it looked in such great condition, Lou Reviews, for being from his childhood. But I believe he was born in 1973. So maybe that's fair. That would make him 8 years old at the time that calendar came out, maybe. But I still don't trust Wilcock or anything he says is true or accurate
on the
information.
horse.
He lies
The very
about
next
everything.
day, they posted this. One of the 4 horsemen
Again
of
with the
apocalypse,
Telegram
and it's
channel.
the head Rothschild.
Q-tard
Hello.
nonsense.
And
He's
this was
repeating
like
Q-tard
right when he
Telegram
disappeared.
posts. You know
They
you're
say he's no
desperate when
longer
you're
with
quoting
us.
Telegram posts from a Q-tard.
Well, again, Charles is with us because I had a witness who was 5 feet away and he was waving at her. But when they're doing this parade with the horses and stuff, this totally suggests the British alliance, the alliance in Britain was involved in this somehow. And then they posted, you remember, the picture of the Fed, that it's all boarded up on the outside.
Probably
with all
about
this,
2 minutes before I start screaming at him, Thomas
wrapping
Robinson.
material over it. It says they've been closed for about 3 years and they haven't printed any new currency. So something is going on that's very strange we don't know about.
He must
because
be a
nobody told us
nostalgic
this
kind of
openly,
guy.
right? This is not public. And then I got very excited on the 18th when they posted the climax scene in the movie V for Victory.
He got excited because
And
somebody
at
was
the end,
posting
you
movie
have
clips
all
on
the British
Telegram.
Parliament, Big Ben. It's
What
all
a
going up and,
douchebag David
big
Wilcock is.
bombs
Just a
and-
douchebag
crap.
dweeb dork
everybody
of the
takes off
century.
this mask, and it's this mask, the Guy Fawkes mask. Okay, so this is an
okay.
article I wrote back in 2013, and it says, confirmed, U.S. military alliance is defeating the Federal Reserve.
Now he's quoting himself from articles he wrote in 2013.
Are working to expose and defeat the Federal Reserve and the occult cabal of bankers.
They didn't defeat the Federal Reserve in
There you go.
2013. The Federal Reserve is alive and
So
well
this
and kicking in
was,
2024.
This was one of the numbers.
So you
of
just showed
cons they were
everybody
putting
you
out.
were
There
wrong.
Many cons. I've talked about them in previous articles, previous articles, right? Previous.
Shut
live
up, Blue
streams.
Reviews. I have a guitars.
But now
I have 2
wanna
guitars
share
on
with
my
you some
set.
new stuff,
but
because one of
The difference is that those just happen to be hanging up, and I actually record music with them, unlike Jimmy Church and David Wilcock and the numerous other douchebags that I've seen with guitars hanging on their set. I will be moving my guitars into the new music and pre-production studio when I get a chance, but I got to get more guitar hangers. Yeah, I agree, though. He's a true narcissist, says Patty Wilhelm. Absolutely. Oh, man, we're almost through this.
That this intel
We have
source
35 more
reported from
minutes of
now,
this
Shadow
shit.
of blah 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 had said earlier.
Say Shadows of
was that
Ezra.
they were going after.
They don't even know
very
who you are,
high-profile
David Wilcock.
targets now. They're going after the top of the pyramid, the eye at the top of the pyramid, right?
Yep.
Well, one of the stories that came out, which hardly anybody
My
reported,
wife once asked me, how many more guitars do you need? Because I bought a new guitar not long ago. But I shop around and I like really good sounding cheap guitars from small startup companies that are trying to make a dent, you know. So she asked me how many guitars I need, and I said all of them, which is the same thing I say to her when she asked me how many synthesizers I need. I need all of them. Actually, if I have my choice, I would prefer to only buy synthesizers. I have plenty of guitars. All you need is a decent acoustic electric guitar that you can plug in and record for acoustic parts, and a decent electric guitar. That's all you really need. You know, when I was playing shows, I had multiple guitars because I needed a backup on stage. So, you know, I had 3 or 4 back then. Now I only have really 3 or 4 in total.
reported on because it's so disturbing, was on March 19th, where the head of the C airport got into a firefight with federal agents. Okay, let's dig in on this.
So it's just one conspiracy
Scary, but
to the
again,
next with this
I'll
guy.
make it funny as much as I can. So
He's going to make it funny. He's going to make fun of a guy
Brian
getting shot in the
Malinowski,
head by
executive
federal
director of the
agents.
National
What a
Airport,
spiritual guru he is.
was hurt by federal agents and
That sounds
sent
good
the
to me,
hospital.
Aaron.
He had a head injury following a firefight at his residence in West Little Rock.
Yeah, I got to save him from the cats.
Early Tuesday morning around 6 a.m., BATF agents arrived at his home to serve a warrant, and they were met with gunfire from within the house.
Again, using a tragedy to sell conspiracies to stupid
on the
people.
agents and prompted them to return.
So far, he's used the tragic murder. Well, whether it was murder or not, I'm not very familiar with that case. I read the news story when it came out. But he's using the tragic death of someone, violent death of someone, and hundreds of victims of sexual assault. He's weaving their tragedies into his stupid stories for stupid people. That alone should inform you that David Wilcock is not a spiritual guru, because a real spiritual guru would have empathy for the victims of those things and not try to profit from those things.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Woo! The specifics of the warrant and the reasons behind their involvement at Malinowski's residence are still under wraps. Authorities have refrained from commenting further due to an ongoing investigation. Why would you be going after this whistleblower unless you want to have him rat out the top? You see what I'm saying? And then they said, we're going to go after high-value targets and pray because many of our operators are going to be...
I'm a Gibson guy. I'm a Gibson guy myself. I like Gibson Studios and Gibson Customs.
And they said this.
I only have one, though.
Again, the British royal family is ended, and it says quitting.
I'd have 5 if I could.
Views. We had Ron talking about the Black Swan event.
You're right. Patty says real spiritual people don't lie for a living. Yep.
And we had this very strange thing happen. Smoke coming out from near the Lincoln Memorial. And
again, he's quoting a Telegram Q-Tard channel.
Anyway, the Ides of March, the black smoke is when somebody dies. Is somebody trying to tell us something?
I agree.
We don't know yet.
But I like them. That's
so
one thing I will splurge on. If anything happened to mine, I'd buy a new one immediately.
Move slowly. Never announce your moves before you make them. That sounds like they're getting ready to do something, doesn't it? Like the lion who's getting ready to strike.
Yeah, mass arrest that never happened. Now he's quoting Donald Trump.
Like the fastest animal on the planet. We won't telegraph our moves. We will, however,
let the fire flush them out.
Now, does this mean that there's going to be some type of physical military activity? Probably not.
Smoke coming out of his ass.
Maybe there is, but I think it's going to be very limited. I think everything is already happening.
Everything's already happening.
There might be
nothing is happening.
Kind of a final breakthrough point here, and this is why, again, maybe
everything's already happening, but nothing's happening.
Warning, hey, there might be air travel disruptions during this eclipse.
Oh, look at that! There was no air travel disruptions during the eclipse. Nothing major, anyway. Nothing significant. So listen, remember, he claims to be in contact with the Archangel Michael. Why wouldn't the Archangel Michael tell him, don't talk about that because that won't happen, right? His prophecies are all fake.
This weird build-up.
Nothing he talks about ever happens.
And so this is a very, very interesting thing now. Let me see.
Well, that's a good thing.
Out of time, so I want to...
Hank McGurk, you're almost out of time. We're at 2 hours and 45 minutes, and he hasn't shown us proof of anything yet. But we've seen 8,000 slides of nonsense and bullshit, right? Somehow, if there's a slide, it makes it real.
Stuff. I'm just like, whoa, what are you guys really saying here? So we had this direct warning of something going on with April 8th.
Again, with the Q-Tard post.
FEMA and having to do with, disasters. So
April 8th timeline. That didn't happen. It didn't happen.
But it sure looks like
nothing happened on April 8th.
And again, the skeptics are trying to say, "Oh, this is nothing," but there are a lot of weird comms associated with the eclipse. The alliance.
And what happened during that eclipse? Nothing that all these conspiracy nuts predicted happened. Nothing.
And said the world is ready and the stage is set. This was, I think, pretty much where we left off. They had this song called "New Alliances," and this again, the date was March 23rd. Okay, so they're getting ready to do something. New alliances.
Right, he does. I love that Clash of the Titans from 1981.
We had this Russian
one
missile
of my favorite movies growing up.
Probably they didn't want to happen. It's like World War III fears all the way. Everybody's so afraid. And they did this massive attack on Ukraine. They turned out all the lights, so that could be a prelude to something else happening there.
Nothing happened.
These were massive amounts of power stations taken down. They're in a much worse position now.
April 8th was a nothing
So
burger.
again, I have a slide in here for the disclosure conference. I'm actually doing an event in Loveland, Colorado. That kind of went in there by accident.
Yes, he's doing an event with a fake secret space program insider that spent 8 years with him, lying to everybody about going on secret space adventures, but then admitted in court under oath that he's never even been to space. And now he's doing an event with that fake secret space program whistleblower.
And then just 2 days after they said the world is ready, the stage is set, they posted goodbye D. And then, whoa, they post a picture of him with a former
more tragedy.
president.
He's going to talk about the Baltimore Bridge
Holy
collapse next.
Smokes. This thing broke out 2 days after they said the world is ready, the stage is set. And back again around 2012 or so, I'd written this article on JB and the weird tattoos that he had.
Look at all this
this
dot
is the original
connecting.
article, 2014.
What is
called
P. Diddy and
holographic angry child throwing
somebody having tattoos?
So I'm going to keep
what does that have to do with anything?
So this was the first 2 tattoos that he had on his little arms, you know, with no hair, like no arm hair, probably because he shaved them. But anyway, look at this. He's got an owl holding onto a key with nothing else there except for the Chi symbol. That's the Greek character Chi, which is usually associated with Christ. It's almost as if he was trying to decide between Chi, Christ, and the owl, whatever the owl means. Well, we know what the owl means. It's associated with the Bohemian Club.
He's talking about Justin Bieber's
there it is.
tattoos because apparently
Right
that has
there on
some
his
deep
arm,
significance.
next to the symbol for Christ, first tattoo he
Right?
got. Why would this be the first tattoo that he got?
Maybe he just liked
Did
the
he
symbol.
go to this organization? Did
Jesus
something
Christ.
happen there? Well, then it
Yeah.
gets weirder.
Justin Bieber is
He
part of
goes
the
on, because
Illuminati
then he
now.
has this tattoo
Jesus
that says
Christ.
believe, and we have what looks like a king, like a royalty, or maybe a Knight Templar, or Knight, one of the Druids, or something like that. Knight of Malta, Knight Templar, something like that. But look at what he's doing. He's plunging his sword into the earth, crucified on a cross. That is the earth on a cross with blood coming off of it.
Oh my God. It's King Arthur, you dumbass. It's King Arthur, the sword in the stone. That's what that is. It's King Arthur, the sword in the stone, you dumbass.
And he's crucifying the earth, and it says believe. And that's right on the other side of his arm. Where
Or maybe he means believe you can do anything. Like King Arthur believed that he could pull the sword from the stone, and he did. Ascribing meaning into, pointless, this means nothing. He's just making stuff up. Oh, this is what Justin Bieber's tattoo means.
On the nose. So now he gets all this stuff. But this guy is plunging his sword into the earth, and the earth is bleeding. And it's right there on his arm.
He's plunging the sword into a
what in the world
stone.
is this? And then after he got that done, then he got another one, which was actually the eye of Madonna. And just to prove to you that it is, here's the picture he probably got from.
So maybe he's a Madonna fan. I was growing up.
Similar. Somebody says you could go all night. We love it.
She was
So
hot.
we're going to stop at 3
when I
hours
was
just
growing
because
up.
people get scared of that. But anyway,
Oh
do you
yeah.
think that looks like the same set of eyes? I sure do. I mean, just do some basic pattern matching. And yeah, I think that is.
It's an
So,
eye.
is
It could be
interesting.
anybody's
There it
eye,
is.
you
Madonna,
dumbass.
All-seeing eye on his arm, next to the image of the
Yes, we
Bohemian
finally
owl,
get some proof, Bill
next to the
Van
image of the
Horn.
Knight Templar plunging his sword into a bleeding earth. And it says believe right below the eye.
I would go
It says,
there if I
"Believe,
could."
This is real, man. There you go. I mean, like, what's going on here? Now he's got owl, he's got the eagle, he's got the tiger. These are very strange,
He's
interesting
got the
things.
eagle and the tiger. Oh, these
And
are
I'm
all
just
strange,
curious,
interesting
and
things.
There's like a fallen angel down there too. Like, what's that about on the bottom? And then he gets yet another one. He gets another one on his chest, which is the broken cross, a Christian crucifix that was all busted up.
Oh my God.
And so, like, I'm thinking to myself,
One of my friends is a tattoo artist, and the crucifix or cross is by far the most popular tattoo that people get as a crucifix. It doesn't have to mean anything other than people like that symbol.
what is all this stuff? Where is all this going?
To bullshit land,
P-
apparently.
PD,
That's where we're
this-
at
this
right now.
Famous rapper and producer, they told us to expect that the final things they're going to do, the Alliance told us to expect that the final things they're going to do are about to happen. They're about to happen.
That's funny.
And then all of a sudden this guy gets arrested and they show a picture of him with one of the top 3 names. on the same night after PD was arrested. What happened on that same night? Do you remember? Oh, that's right. It can't be anything more than just a random coincidence that this boat has its lights go on and off 3 times. It gets steered in just...
And here again, Mr. Spiritual Guru, we're up to how many tragedies right now? Childhood abuse, hundreds of victims. He weaves that into his nonsensical conspiracy land nonsense. Then we have somebody who was tragically killed during a federal warrant being issued, shot in the head and killed tragically. He weaves that into his conspiracy land nonsense. And now he's weaving, and I guess he's saying that what? Justin Bieber is a satanic P word? And now he's going to weave the bridge collapse where, you know, multiple people lost their lives. That was a tragedy. And he's going to use that to sell stupid people a group of $333 books he claims is from an angel somehow.
That's the right way that it hits the...
This is not a spiritual guru. This is a grifter would do that. A scumbag would involve all those people's personal tragedies in his grift. A scumbag would grift off of tragedy.
Central column in just the right way, and the whole bridge comes down just the right way. Oh, that's just totally random. No. That's not what this source is telling us.
They're all grifting scumbag liars.
On the same day of March 26th,
Indiana.
2 black...
And no offense, but anybody that listens to him, I think is an idiot.
Come to, which again ties in with all the stuff I've been telling you about.
Michael Sala is one of the people, by the way, who sold Corey Goode's fairy tales for 8 years. He was completely and totally wrong, right? Yeah, A Ghost. I said it was while they were serving a warrant. This man was murdered or killed. I don't think we know the details yet. There's an investigation into those events.
Controlling the planet, feeding on us for water and food. Okay, without going too graphic. V has come too. That's that show. And then on the same day, they posted turning Baltimore.
Oh my God, with the Q-tard posts. Now he's connecting it to the V television show. Remember that? The aliens with the reptiles, skin underneath.
This is it up close.
With the skin suits.
Baltimore has been reviewing its smart city progress to date, July 13th, 2018. By posting this, they are making an implication that some...
I'd be happy to answer your question there. Indiana says, what do you think about super soldiers? Generally, what I think is that they're all con artists, scumbags, and liars. Why do all super soldiers look like fat old men? And none of them look in shape, with the possible exception of that one guy, Ismael Perez. Every other super soldier I've ever seen looks like a fat, lazy slob that couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. And in fact, I even challenged one of those fake super soldiers, Randy Kramer, to a boxing match, and I offered him $10,000 to prove that his super soldier superpowers were real in a boxing match with me. Crickets. He wouldn't do it.
Some type of smart technology was used.
If you're going to claim to the world, Indiana, that you have superpowers, don't you think you should prove that your superpowers are real? To date, to my knowledge, not one of these super soldiers, and there's hundreds of people who claim to be super soldiers somehow, not one of them has ever proven their superpowers are real. So I think that should inform you that these people are lying, grifting scumbags.
To steer this particular vessel to make this particular...
Oh, thanks, A Ghost. Yeah, I didn't think I said he was arrested.
I do believe it was intentional because it happened on the same day this guy got arrested. That's exactly what they want. They want a big distraction.
Okay, so the Baltimore bridge collapse was a distraction from what? P. Diddy getting in trouble? Makes no sense.
He was on his jet trying to escape when they arrived, so he knows he's in trouble.
He wasn't on his jet. He was completely wrong, right? People thought he flew out of the country. He was actually in Florida at the time.
And he got stopped at Opelika.
Of the raids.
So there's a picture from TMZ of the whole thing going down. And again, the implication is, yeah, this is a black swan.
You'll fight me for $300.
General Flynn said that. So did Laura Logan. It's very, very suspect.
Because he's going bald.
Because
that's
there's
why.
A lot of stuff that moves through here. A lot of stuff for the military. A lot of stuff for automobiles. Yeah, a lot of stuff for hazardous materials too. Yeah, it can be rerouted.
The Lamborghini's
no, this is strange.
speeding
And then,
ticket. Yeah.
in addition to all this stuff going on, there's also this speculation about where is Kate Middleton. This video comes out where supposedly it's her. Supposedly she says she's been diagnosed with cancer. But then I would have believed it, except that they said, is it a deep fake?
Oh my God! Now he's accusing somebody of pretending to have cancer.
And isn't that odd? Cameron Mancini, thank you. Saw a super chat go by.
Right, he did. He was not
I'm
arrested.
just trying to stay on my content here. I want to get this done in 3 hours. So this is what he posted. This video dating back 7 years features her wearing the same sweater, or almost the same. It's just that there's more. In the new video, the stripes go all the way to the edge, whereas in this one, there's some white between.
This man sees conspiracies everywhere.
She has the same, almost the same sweater with her hairstyle bearing a striking resemblance. That's
trying to be relevant.
Same hairstyle where she discloses her battle. So this implies what they're trying to tell you is she's not. She might be in some trial somewhere. She's not actually filming this. This was done with some other technology. Speculation is arising that a deepfake or AI may have been crafted. What do you think? Now they're not telling you it's true, but they want you to think about it, which means they want you to think about the idea that this is not real. And therefore, she might be somewhere else, and there might be something else going on.
Oh my God! How many more slides does he got? Jesus Christ!
All I did is
he talks about his pajamas again before we're finished.
A year ago, why am I not allowed to ask questions? Who said the BBC is credible for anything? The royal family has a history of altering images, and we should have a right to question them. Beloved Vine Hawk should be suspended as a contributor, as he only targets people with conservative views. And then this is what the guy said. The video is not.
How many times has he sniffed so far in 3 hours?
An analysis
a few hundred
used to detect deep fakes detected no AI. Well, again, that maybe it can't be proven, but they want
needs to spend him nasal decongestant. Maybe that'll help.
Then getting up to the present now, they put out the 3-word communication: Eagle, Evergreen, and Renegade. That's only those 3 words.
Oh, code words: Eagle,
Biden, Hillary, and Obama.
Oh, sure it does.
Type of maybe final plans.
Oh my God, Q-tard fantasies.
And so there it is.
Q-tard fantasies.
27 March and then 28th March. We'll get to that one in just a second. Eagle, well, that's obviously the president. Renegade, remember, was Obama's code name in the Secret Service. But what's Evergreen all about? Well, I knew, and I'd written it in my journal, and then later on that same day, they posted about it.
I love how he keeps posting these Shadows of Ezra, telling people that he's getting secret communications from the Alliance, and Shadows of Ezra doesn't even know who the hell Wilcock is or why he's claiming this shit. It's wonderful.
About it. On March 24th, 2021, a giant container ship ran aground in the Suez Canal, blocking one of the world's busiest trade routes in both directions for nearly 19 hours. The 2,000-ton Ever Given was en route from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean when it became stuck sideways in the canal. The ship was operated by Evergreen Marine. So even though the ship is called Ever Given, if you look at the picture, you can see that the name of the company was Evergreen, and the side of the ship says Evergreen. So again, what happened is the ship was going along. It got blocked for nearly 19 hours. And based on all of my speculation, actually, now we have it up close.
At least he finally admits that everything he does is speculation.
When they blocked it, this was probably an Alliance operation.
An Alliance operation. The Alliance doesn't exist. The Alliance is a group that he was told about by a proven con artist. But now he's going to tell you that the Shadows of Ezra is posting Alliance comms, even though Shadows of Ezra doesn't even know who David Wilcock is. And this has something to do with his fictional Alliance group, which he heard about from a proven con artist. So we have a proven con artist as a source of this wonderful information from Wilcock, and a Q-tard on Telegram. Great information.
Inside some of these containers on the ship, there was probably some type of smuggling going on here that was very scary and very dark. And for those 19 hours, they were able to free everyone. And they probably have, I'm going to just speculate on all the evidence here, a trail of evidence linking this back to this said individual. I want to remind everyone about the Evergreen issue that happened in Suez Canal. Because of community notes, I was not allowed to mention HC and this human stuff that's going on. Make sure you remind everyone. Whoa, he's just giving it to you. They've got some damning evidence from this. They've been holding on to it all this time. They rescued people out of
complete and total 100% speculation.
These containers. It's probably what they're saying.
It's probably. Oh,
And
they're
yet,
rescuing
DC
human
Brain
trafficking
said February
victims out of these
2024, White House puts
containers.
out executive order to boost cybersecurity at U.S.
You
shipping
couldn't
ports.
stay in a
March
container like
24,
that. There's
giant
no
ship loses power
ventilation. You would
twice,
die in
aims itself
hours.
directly at the bridge, destroys it, and closes down the 10th busiest U.S. port for 10 months, or for many months. We don't know how long yet. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Okay, get back to work, High Speed
That was
Chase,
on March
you
27th.
slacker.
The next thing they posted, I think we're getting pretty close to the present. This might be the last one. An image of stepping out into the light. And it looks like, 45, 47
Only
years.
Wilcock could find some random
So I
Telegram
just contrast
channel
enhanced it to try to see
and
if
turn
the
it
shadow
into
has
material
anything
for
to do.
stupid
It's
idiots.
an interesting shadow. I mean, it looks kind of ET-ish. I don't know. There's some. Maybe we're going to learn about the Draco. Maybe there's some of these things they did say.
Yeah, we're going to learn
has
about the
come to.
reptilian aliens.
I'm just trying to make
soon.
sense out of what this is. I really don't know.
You really don't
Your guess
know.
is
This is
good
the
as
first time he's been honest during
Anyway,
the
now
whole
we go
3-hour
to
stream.
this. The Baltimore thing just conveniently stops our best rapid wartime response cargo ships from being able to get out. And then we find out on the same day, March 29th, oh, we're just going to fire up some.
So you just use con artists?
Create an interdimensional portal, try to bring something through.
If
No
sources
big
are
deal.
limited, that
We're just
doesn't give you
searching for
permission to
invisible
use
matter. It might
proven
be
scumbag con
beyond
artists
invisible
as
matter.
sources, especially when you're
Then
selling
they said
people
this.
information.
Oh my God.
Indiana.
Names have leaked that trace back to the Martha's you-know-what. Visitors to the island has been leaked by a data broker. This data includes names. We can do it here. Names, addresses, and in some cases even passport numbers, 200 mobile devices of people who visited the island in the years prior to his so-called death, left an invisible trail of data pointing back, oh man, geolocation to their own home. God darn it. Ah! People are pissed off. 166 locations throughout the U.S. shows where the visitors likely lived and worked. Ukraine, Cayman Islands, Australia, Florida, Massachusetts, Texan.
Boy, talk about connected dots.
Man.
Talk about connecting the dots.
I'm almost done. Hold on.
He's been saying he's almost done for 25 minutes.
Came directly from gated communities in Martha's favorite place. And who lives in Martha's favorite place? And then right below that, they have a video. And then here's another weird silhouette next to this guy. And what's the silhouette about? Is that talking about some type of non-terrestrial intelligence? I'm just speculating. I have no idea. But there's a trail of that.
I'm just speculating. I have no idea, but I'm going to say this is about aliens.
The answer to this thread is that blankety blank and blank visited the island. But because of the notes, I'm unable to directly say so. Spread this post and mention da-da-da. Now, again, until I see anything or until I have the evidence, it's just hearsay. That's all it is. And, there's some kind of war going on between these parties. I'm not really involved in it. I'm just a reporter.
He's just a reporter.
But I got to have some bravery just to talk about this stuff at all. But again,
how is it brave? He's showing people Telegram Q-tard posts and claiming he's brave. How are you brave for showing people Q-tard posts from Telegram, you asshole? You're not brave. You're pathetic.
That the final 3 operations are getting ready to happen. It appears something's already happened in Britain, and we're getting ready for some type of big announcement, which directly is tied in with this global ascension.
Well, they sure don't like me, Indiana. I bust a lot of frauds here.
Wobble in the Earth's axis,
and we bust a lot of fake stories, right?
Cultures by these 2 historians, again, Santillon and von Deschend, in Hamlet's Mill, and this was Graham Hancock who wrote about this. For some inexplicable reason, at an unknown date, archaic myths from all over the world were co-opted to convey information on technical details.
Yes, I do remember that. He thought the White Dragon Society was coming to murder him,
and then you roll the stone around and grinds it up into flour.
Douchebag.
This also represents the Earth on its axis. And
he's reusing slides from the last stream now.
And grinds the grain.
Talk about desperate for material. My God.
Earth on its axis. Now, what's weird about this myth is that the mill keeps breaking at the end of the story, and then there's, in many cases, images of like a solar flash. But this, again, is how these intelligent extraterrestrial humans encoded the procession, one of many ways they did.
They encoded the procession with a grain grinder?
The original Hamlet in Icelandic legend was called Amlodi. Amlod is Hamlet. Amlod, Hamlet. In Icelandic legend, he is an elusive carrier of fate who must yield. When his mission is accomplished, he sinks into the concealment of the depths of time. The Lord of the Golden Age.
Where did he get this bullshit at?
After this weird event happens, that's when they're expecting us to transform. This essay, this is from their book now, follows the hero further and farther away from Northlands to Rome, Finland, Iran, and India. He appears unmistakably in Polynesian legends, and it stands for an astronomical process as the sun shifts through the signs of the zodiac, determining 2,160-year ages of the zodiac. Wow. Each age ends with a world era, a twilight of the gods. Great structures collapse, pillars topple that supported the great fabric, floods and cataclysms herald the shaping of a new world. As we follow the clues, stars, numbers, colors, plants, forms, verse, and structures, a huge framework of connection is revealed at many levels. This is a true edifice, something like a mathematical matrix.
Oh my
A
God.
world image that fits the many levels, and
Where did he
all of
get
it
this
is kept in
bullshit
order by
from?
strict measure. Let's just take a breath. Wow, that's so heavy.
No, it wasn't.
Not only
It's
do
stupid.
all of these myths tell the story of the hero's journey, they're also, as these two historians
because
found,
people like stories of heroes, dude. It doesn't mean it's part of your vast nonsensical conspiracy world of nonsense.
out encoding the metaphor of the 25,000-year cycle, which, as we showed you, has
It looks like a
5 years of
laminated, a
Mayan calendar in
herniated
it.
testicle
At the
with
end of the
false
Mayan calendar,
teeth.
what does the sun
Jason
do?
Parker, damn, dude.
Whoa. Well, we're at the
He
end of the
also
Mayan
cried
calendar
about
now,
Obama's
and
treatment
Michael
by
has told
Bush
us
Sr.,
that we are going to
yes.
go
And there's
through
no
a
proof that that
non-catastrophic
happened.
ascension, as I've said. This is his vision, Archangel Michael, as I've been talking about in previous shows.
Was he caught?
All of
Wow,
these different
that's
geometries have a
crazy.
node that converges at the end.
Those two, I bet
And
you
all
they
of the
take
different
turns
hero
butt
journey
banging each other.
storylines merge
I
into a
swear
global
that Corey
hero
Good and
journey
David
that is a
Wilcock take
global
turns
villain.
butt banging each other.
The stories will naturally and miraculously resolve, creating the tearjerker cinematic ending,
Heavy
like I
on the
had talking about
stupid.
the Matrix.
Yes.
It creates a spontaneous change, so Michael says, in the physics of our reality. And in this photonic geometric model, we can see that matter itself is made of geometry that can phase shift. So the atoms and molecules
it's
that make up the
entirely
body
possible.
literally have a harmonic change. The very molecular material that you're made out of, in law of one terms, will become higher density. Your body is going to become different.
This is the rainbow light body scam that he pulled in the year 2000 lead up and in the lead up to 2012. Nothing that he says about people getting new light activated bodies or reaching a higher density or ascension, none of that shit ever happens. This is the third time he's predicting an ascension like event. And he was wrong the first 2 times.
It might not weigh as
Completely.
much. It might be lighter in physical strength, but heavier in light strength. In fact,
What the
people
hell is
apparently are
light
going to have light
strength?
bodies.
Yeah, light bodies.
So
See?
he said that this is going to be a sudden, highly ecstatic upgrade. We expand into this realm of perfect bliss where your body feels very, very stretchy. You can start to remember past lives. All of those different places and different cycles all start merging into your cosmic now.
Yeah, and these are all the superpowers that he promised people twice before that never happened.
And you become aware of your different lifetimes at the same time. And now you can eventually be able to time travel into your own life.
I agree, Patty.
And give yourself advice about what to do. You can time travel back into your own life and give yourself dreams, synchronicities, hidden messages, people who show up at
I
the right
agree.
time and tell
Davina
you
says
something.
people have been saying these things
like
for
this video.
eons.
Some part of you from the future wants you to know what I'm telling you right now. To not be afraid. To not be scared, because all of this stuff.
I think some part of me from
is
the
heading
future
into
wants
our
to smack
galactic
me for
family
wasting
reunion.
3 hours on this
And
nonsense.
we already got 8 minutes in past the hour. My God. Let me read some of your comments so I don't feel totally rude. Keep on going another hour, says Nicole Goddess. War Angel says repentance is our friend. Earthwatch just put a video up saying CERN is running tests. Just be a good person, be in your heart chakra for this ascension, and you will be fine.
What a great camera angle. Look at the back of my
Levitation,
head.
Telepathy, chakras balanced, third eye open.
Yeah, it would have already happened.
Ellie always
Talmud.
wins. You should warn your audience, be fair, laughing my ass off. I'm not sure who Ellie is. ELE, the extinction level event, maybe.
You're
David,
right,
what do you
Richard.
think about the the red heifer sacrifice looming over the Gaza conflict? I do believe the alliance is on this as well, and I
The
hope
organization
all
that doesn't
these warlike
exist, that he
actions
was
can
told
be
about
stopped,
by a
because the
con
whole thing
artist,
is
the
really, really
alliance.
scary and
Yes.
freaky, and I just want peace. That's all I'm interested in. Okay, so in fact, the whole point is let's do the global peace meditation so that we can try to get this stuff buttoned up.
And I
first
want
let me
to
read a couple more
make
comments.
sure that I put on the
Sounds
record.
like
I'm no expert in meditation, but what he does at the end of these videos is not meditation, not at all.
Rapture, yeah, that's really what it is. Look into Sophia Stewart. She was the creator of the Matrix and Terminator films. These two movie franchises go together. That makes sense. These scripts were stolen from her. I've never heard of that before.
She's a wackadoo
Happy
who
to
claimed
look into
that somebody stole
I'd
the
like to thank you
Matrix
for sharing
and
your
other
info
movie
with all of
scripts
us.
from
Thank
her,
you for
including the
answering.
Terminator script.
V has come to is a line from Metal Gear Solid 5. I did not know that. Thank you. But I think it also has all these other layers that they want you to know about. I love your contributions to humanity, says High Vibes for Wellness.
Is that true, Troll? I don't think so.
Linda Goitil says, this is the most exciting time to be alive. This has never been done. We are going through this prepared. I mean, yeah, this is so freaking amazing, folks. We're talking about
give ourselves a hand job.
Multi-dimensional evolution in what it means to be human. That we are going to suddenly have the ability to remember who we were before, to hear other people's thoughts. If you're more advanced, you're going to have...
Listen to what he's promising people. And he's essentially claiming if you just give him the $333, you'll get all this information on how to handle these coming changes and get your superpowers. He's literally trying to sell people superpowers for $333. But he's done this same scam before, up to the year 2000, with his original website full of nonsense, Ascension2000.com. And nothing that he talked about on that website was accurate prophetically. And then he did it again in the lead up to 2012, promising people light bodies and rainbow activation and ascension, and none of that happened. And here he is again. Third time's the charm. Maybe the third time he promises everybody on Earth is getting superpowers. It'll really happen. What are the odds of this happening? Especially when we stop to consider that he was completely and totally wrong in these promises twice before, in the year 2000 and up to the year 2012.
Of levitation, telekinesis, as I said. This prophecy exists in the Quran, the Muslim Holy Bible. We've read that before. It's in the Book of Enoch. I read that at the end of the last show. It's in the show. It's in the Bible. It's in Hinduism. It's in Zoroastrianism. And these historians showed that it's in all the ancient myths. They all have the 25,000-year cycle.
No, they don't. He was wrong on his math. He's just fitting... He's putting square pegs through round holes, trying to fit his theory and prove that his theories are correct. They are not. He is wrong about everything. He always is. And he likely always will be.
And we know the 25,000-year cycle. Every Mayan calendar, every 5,125 years, Lonnie Thompson found this glacial cycle. There's some kind of huge solar energy outburst. Whoa, it's crazy.
Yeah, and there are climate change cycles. Things change. It doesn't mean that this guy's wackadoo conspiracy theories are correct.
My ears are ringing, says Kurt Heckinger. That's a sign of ET contact. The hero's journey is also the card on the tarot. Yeah, that's right. The Fool card is the beginning of the hero's journey. He's got the pack on his back, and he's just naive, and he doesn't really know anything. David of S.H.I.E.L.D. says, peace, love, harmony, and freedom.
Yeah, here we go with the
says,
religion
thank you, David.
parade.
You are really amazing. You helped
Sounds
us
like
so
a cult
much.
leader. Yeah, cult leaders always
Heather
promise
Whale
their
says, "I believe
followers
this will
certain
happen."
things.
War Angel says, as a child, I dreamed over and over that I was
I agree. Richard says, guided
Look at those
relaxation
PJs from far
techniques
away.
are
It
not
didn't
real
look like a
meditation.
football
David is
player. It looked
clueless.
like a cartoon guy on a rocket. Huh. I hadn't even thought about that.
He's going to show some props again.
He kind of does. I mean, there is actually a sort of unfortunate and disturbing phallic aspect to this, I guess. Whether that means anything, or not, I don't know. Okay, but there it is. Yeah, it probably is.
He's showing us his
all this stuff,
pajamas
it turns out that
from
deep
when he
state's
was 8
involved
years
in everything,
old.
So whatever. I'm not worried about it anymore. I mean, this is going to fix everything. And they said they're not going to be Earth changes. The solar flash happened in Proxima Centauri. We don't have anything going on right now. I mean, think about what's happening here. Think
Yeah, the
about
solar
fact
flash he
that
promised for 20
Earth's
years never
inner core
happened.
already shifted on its axis. It completed in 2013. We had a solar flash in Proxima Centauri, and now this ET source has played by the rules. They've told us we're coming back as soon as you guys do these important arrests that need to get done. And I don't know if it's right away. Probably a period of time where we're learning the truth. I don't know.
So now the aliens aren't coming
it is
unless we
detained,
arrest all of the
but it
evil
can't be
people
much
on
more than a
Earth,
year.
right?
because the deadline is Memorial Day 2025. Galactic family reunion and/or solar flash, but a non-catastrophic one. This is so strange. I mean, I'm really
All right, so
very
here, let me give you some grifting advice in case you ever decide to become a grifting UFO cult leader or New Age conspiracy theorist grifter. You never give a hard date. He just gave a hard date saying that both alien visitation, public alien visitation on Earth, and the Ascension are all going to happen by Memorial Day 2025. So mark your calendars, and when that doesn't happen, we will refer back to this video and laugh at the world's worst prophet, right? How would an angel give you that completely and totally inaccurate information? When nothing happens, what's his excuse going to be? This will be the third time that he has predicted a worldwide Ascension event that didn't happen. And we just have to wait about 13 months before we know that he was wrong, completely and totally wrong yet again. But don't worry, next year he'll be making new predictions for Ascension coming any day now for $333, most likely.
very, very excited. And if the Alliance is getting ready to do something...
Yeah, the fake alliance that doesn't exist.
Right. Eagle
It doesn't exist.
Renegade,
The alliance isn't real. A
operations
con artist told you about that
This
group.
stuff could be right around the corner. So again, make sure you got all your supplies on hand. You got enough water. You got enough simple food, rice and beans. I think of frozen bison steaks as equivalent to currency. So I have like over 100 steaks in my freezer.
Oh, look at
So I
that.
could go a long time.
He has 100 ribeye bison steaks in his freezer. Do you guys have any idea how much 100 bison ribeye steaks cost? I bought one, and I think it was like $20-something. So he's on the YouTube begging people for money for groceries while he has hundreds of bison ribeye steaks in his freezer that he's now bragging about.
Something went down. I'm just going to put that out there and kind of tell you what's going on. So I think we got to end it here. I don't want to go past 3
I
hours and
agree,
15
Glenn
minutes.
Frith.
So let's do a little
He gets caught with
peace meditation right
all
now.
the time.
Thank you, everybody, for writing.
He's
your
always
comments.
talking about
Here
his
they are
steaks.
again. It's constantly flowing through the entire show. It's really amazing.
Never
We still
acknowledges
have
his failed predictions. He takes a break and goes silent for a while,
viewers.
and he just comes back and picks up
Amazing.
like nothing
Thank you, guys.
happened.
This is
Yeah,
enough
it's called
to
the
do
Cosmic
meditation.
Con Shuffle.
Just about.
We've talked about
Good
that here
enough.
many
Here we go.
times.
All
Now
right.
we get into his fake meditation.
Start on 5.
By the way,
3.
if he's always doing these world peace meditations, how come the world is more at war since he started doing these world? Just putting it on the record that since David Wilcock, before he started doing these world peace meditations, there were no major wars or conflicts in the world. At least nothing of real importance, not full-blown wars. Since he started doing these global peace meditations, 2 major wars have broken out in the world. I think that's funny. Let's do a global peace meditation, and then the world becomes more warlike instead of more peaceful. That should show you that his fake superpowers are completely fake.
Start. Okay, here we go. Global peace.
He's making things worse with these peace meditations.
So
They don't
take some
work.
nice deep breaths now.
Oh, let's take a breath. Yeah.
And please just hang in there with me. It's only going to be about 2 minutes, very short. As you breathe in and out.
No, they're in a freezer, so they should be
imagine
okay.
this living, luminous energy.
Thank God it's
going
over,
out in the
says Mark
universe and
Tirana.
Creating cosmic geometric
Yes.
patterns.
We will have made it
Building
through another
stars and
3 hours and
planets
20
and
minutes of this clown.
Erupting
Yes,
through planets.
yeah,
and
I
the
agree,
great red spots,
Triangulate
the great
Truth.
dark
And
spots,
welcome.
the
I think you're a new
sunspots,
user here. Great comments tonight. I hope
all
to
of
see you again
these
here in our live
intriguing
chat.
Things connected to the geometry.
He's got the
pentagonal
George
structure,
Washington hairstyle down.
the Mayan calendar, and its end date.
3 more
What's really
minutes,
going on
4
here?
more minutes of this nonsense.
Solar flash at the end of every cycle. Well, yeah, it was proven. Wow.
Maybe he just pisses on the
Deeper
steaks when
into
he makes them. Who knows?
You're
He's a big fan of
never
urine
gonna
now.
relax.
He's taking baths in his own piss because an angel
Realizing
told him
that
he'd
it's
get
a perfect plan.
superpowers.
The
But he
dark
can't
night of the
show us his
soul,
superpowers,
not
right?
the end of the hero's journey.
Oh, now we get the
It's
fades.
only the beginning.
So artistic, David
The
Wilcock.
story of Easter, the story of the resurrection,
Anybody ever told him
the
how
story of
stupid
being
this looks?
reborn in a body they could not recognize. They had to look at his hands.
Such a
Notice that it
fucking
was really the same
egomaniac.
guy.
He needs 8 of himself on the screen at
That was
once.
the level of proof that was required.
No worries,
As
Talmud.
you keep breathing more
Catch
and more
up to me when
deeply,
we can.
imagining peace throughout
We
the
appreciate
planet, all these
everybody,
areas
though.
of
We read every
conflict
single
lessening,
super chat, just so
those
everybody's
who would
aware.
create conflict being dealt with
Yes, I'm
in the most
bringing
peaceful
everybody
way
world
possible
peace
through
tonight.
legal and ethical
Yes.
means. Stepping down or whatever it is that's
His
happening.
eyes turn
we're seeing
yellow.
Lots of interesting comms going on.
Yeah, no worries,
We take
Talmud.
this
Thanks for
energy
being a
with the
member.
grades
We
that we're
appreciate you.
sending
Thanks
you
for
here.
appreciating us.
We pray
Wilcock
for the
always keeps
smooth and successful
hot sauce in
completion
his
of whatever is
purse.
going on. We pray that there be a minimum
Well, he did
of
smoke
disastrous
Philly
events
blunts with
around the
black
time of the
guys,
eclipse, which is only just
So-
over a week away. We ask that we have a beautiful Easter with our families, that everybody gets along, and that we learn more and more how to reach the hero's quest in our own lives.
Thanks, Bambino.
Become
I
more
appreciate
loving, more
that.
self-accepting,
Yeah, that was one
more
of our
patient,
best
more
episodes,
forgiving,
I think. That whole
more
series was
understanding.
fun.
And so it is. Now I'd like you to breathe back into the
Yes.
room. I'm
Yeah,
David
he's
Wilcock,
going to
up
teach
a
people
little
how to
over
survive a
15
grid down
minutes.
event. He can't start a
I've lost another
generator.
boundary on us here, but thank you.
Thanks for the
Thank you
reminder,
for being
Trolly
here.
Troll.
I'm really glad that we did this show. And let's go to the present of our comments here, if I can even get to it. Thank you, David. I've rebooted 3 times since you started. Thank you for all your time and effort and energy. That's Kaleidoscope Eyes.
That's how dumb his followers are. They can't work a computer long enough to listen to his stream. They have to reboot 3 times.
Love for all. Yes, David. Geez, we missed you. Let us know the results in the next video. Save the children. Thank you for sharing this most important.
Yeah, it was good,
information.
Talman. I did like
Tahana
that
Music
one.
Within Butterfly Garden says thank you, David.
Yes, we need 8 of me on screen,
Thank you
says
again,
Operation
everybody who
Shutdown
did
with
super
soft
chat
fades. Thanks
donations.
for
That's
being
really
a
awesome. I
member.
appreciate that. Please also again go to thedisclosure.com.
Buy my shit. Here's the pitch.
Thedisclosure.com to buy my course. Go to thedisclosuresummit.com.
Don't go there. Don't go
Sign up for
there.
my live event. We're also going to be doing video live streaming. I hope it's good quality. I think it will be. So you can watch my show without having to go to the event. That's another way you can support us. So again, here I am on my big set. I got my sizzle jacket for you guys. I got a pink shirt. I got orange. I mean, it's just all these beautiful Easter colors.
It looks like
Dressed
something
up
you would
for
wear at a gay pride
I deserve
parade.
a little respect.
Not that there's anything
So I
wrong
thank
with
you for
that.
sending us so many kind words. and for
Yes,
being
don't do
so
it. It's
cool,
a trap.
And we will see you on the next show. Thanks
Yeah,
for watching.
Glady isn't reading the mean posts. Oh, we made it. Andrew says, till Stephen yelled at Anjali and hurt her feelings. Yeah, I did. So there's the global peace meditation. And it would appear that we made it. We made it through another 3 hours and 20 minutes. It goes so long that the lights went out here. That one of these lights is on a 2-hour timer. So I'll take some comments and questions from the live chat before we bounce on out of here. I will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll be here with me. I've got a great show planned for tomorrow night. Yes, where's my sizzle jacket? Well, unfortunately, it is so hot in this room. I've explained this many times, but I'll do it one more time. I do the show in this room that's like a big, it's like an attic room. And there's only one window, which happens to be where I sit. It's right behind me. So in order to even open the window here, I have to take the set down. And yeah, it gets so hot in here that I have to move to another place to do the show during the hotter months. Talmud says she was manipulating him and lying for months. I'm impressed Stephen lasted as long as he did with Anjali. Yeah, a lot of people still slag me for yelling at her, but she had been manipulating me for, I think, 6 months up until that point. So, you know, at some point I lost my patience with her, you know. Trolly Troll says, I feel more peaceful already. Chuck Bam asks, where are the nude zoom-ins? Yes, I have lost 10 points of intelligence. Can't afford to lose much more here, says Tales of Sonic Voyage. Yeah, I feel the same way. So, listen, we've done our due diligence. We've brought you another installment of the wacky world of Wilcock. It's going to be interesting to see. I am predicting very, very sparse attendance at this Disclosure Summit event with Corey Good and David Wilcock. It's Corey Good, David Wilcock, I think that James Gilliland loser from East Ranch, and a bunch of people you've never heard of. So these guys are used to making or expect to make hundreds of thousands of dollars running one conference. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's going to be not very well attended. You can look at Corey Goode's Social Blade and David Wilcock's Social Blade to a lesser extent and see that both of their numbers are in the absolute shitter since the wonderful revelations that they both sold Corey Goode's fake stories for 8 years to their stupid followers. I think even their stupid followers are turned off and are no longer going to be customers of theirs. But never underestimate the power of stupid people and just how stupid people are, right? Hank McGurk says, you don't even want to know where I got the barley from. I have no idea what Hank McGurk is talking about. He comes in here and just talks nonsense. I don't know. I don't understand it. But listen, we've done our due diligence. We made it through another 3 hours and 20 minutes of David Wilcock's nonsense. And the best way to sum up this latest stream of nonsense is just to show you he used a con artist. That's one of his sources. He's using a Telegram Q-Tard channel that doesn't even know who he is, that he claims he's getting coded messages from, and was surprised that Wilcock is using his material in his presentations and basically denounced him. Then he's using a Project Camelot source that was just some con artist that never proved any of the shit that he said. It's not looking good. And of course, his major source now is the Archangel Michael, who somehow can't get David Wilcock even one good prediction that hits. In other words, the angel hasn't told him anything that he's predicted that's come true. So based on the biblical concept of test of a prophet, David Wilcock is not in communication with angelic or divine sources. He may be in communication with demonic sources masquerading as angelic sources, which is common. Ask any minister or Catholic priest. Demons will pretend to be angelic beings when they communicate with people, and they spread falsehoods, misinformation, disinformation, and fake prophecies. If somebody is really in communication with divine or angelic sources because they are never wrong. David Wilcock is always wrong, right? Their big comeback is a conference at a Best Western. Is it at a Best Western? I don't know if it's at a Best Western, but it's at some shitty hotel in Colorado near where they both live, I guess. You got to keep it close to home. I'm predicting a huge failure for that, and it's sad because they're both in desperate need of money right now. We heard in those depositions that Corey Goode took $200,000, $100,000 or $200,000 out of those accounts in money that didn't belong to him. While he's accusing other people of embezzling money. You gotta love it. And yes, for those unaware, the Corey Goode lawsuits, at least the one against all of his online critics, completely and totally failed. And Goode's new business plan is that he's going to do a TV show that requires the participation of all of his critics. Who that he sued is going to want to go work for him for free to tell their side of the story on a television show that Corey Goode is making all the money off of. This is a terrible business plan. But, welcome to the delusional world. These people are narcissistic scumbags that think the world revolves around them. It's just one of those things. Tales of Sonic Voyage says, I just want to stand outside and laugh at people going in. Well, we might have somebody there. We'll see. I better not say anything else about that. So we've done our due diligence. Look, what can I tell you? It's all David Wilcock does is find a bunch of disconnected nonsense, and he tries to thread a needle and connect all these dots that don't exist, right? Where he's a big prophet and he's seeing through the deception and he'll lead you to the truth. I love how these so-called truther guys are always get caught lying and selling completely and totally fake information. At some point, it becomes laughable. And certainly, David Wilcock has. And by the way, I don't wish the guy any ill will, but apparently he's got a great deal of financial problems right now. And I predict that's going to get worse for him as more and more people sue his shady aerospace company And more investors sue that shady aerospace company. David Wilcock is being sued right now as well, and his former Spiritual Healing Foundation is also being sued in a countersuit related to the Corey Good nonsense. Things aren't looking good, and he claims that he's $1.5 million in tax debt, and he's got to go to some audit meeting or something, right? It's not looking good for Mr. Wilcock, but hey, best of luck to him. I wish all men a road to redemption, but I do think that it's karmically correct if he loses all his money giving it to a shady, scammy aerospace company, because he made all that money by deception, by lying to people, by selling people false, inaccurate, completely fake information. He shouldn't just get to keep that millions of dollars in ill-gotten gains, and it would appear that karmically he may be paying the price for that right now. And I believe he's going to continue to pay that price until the debt is paid in full. One can hope anyway. So we've done our due diligence. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll be here with us. No place I would rather be. I'm seeing a lot of new people in the live chat, so welcome to all of you new live chat participants. Please do join our Discord server. Link in the description of this video or podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. You could follow me on Facebook at Stephen Cambion, or also you could follow me on Instagram at Truth Seeker Show. So that's all I got for you, friends. Thank God we made it through another one. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Hope you'll be here with me. So that's all I got for you. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.